start connecting and getting the live stream coming on YouTube as well too. So our people over there, they can check it out or whatever. So I see I Miss No Taxation is up in the spot as well too. So shout out to her. Shout out to her. I hope everybody's ready to conversate and discuss this. Like I said, we got the Black American report that the Urban League came out with. We also have the actual Black World Conference that took place or taking place, and we also we're going to be discussing Robert F. Kennedy Jr. His presidency. He's a big time anti vaccine type person. So I just want to hear what everybody got to say about that. Is he a potential person that you may be casting a vote for, or is he just a joke? Is it all about the last name? Because at one time, black folks had a real affinity for the Kennedys. Like the Kennedys, they consider them like the actual the actual the actual American version of the royal family. Like they were the black folks. They had such a reverence for John F. Kennedy and as well as Robert F. Kennedy as well too. So definitely want to see what people stand on that situation in terms of is this somebody that they potentially could actually vote for? So we want to go ahead and we'll get everything rolling and rocking and going along in a second. We're just letting some more of our people come up in here. I'm tweeting it out right now. Let our people come up in here, check it out, see what's going on. If you guys could also tweet out the space as well too. We intend on having once again another good conversation tonight as well too. So we definitely want to go ahead and we love to have the interaction from our people. We love when our people come up here and they're actually and the conversation is flowing and everybody's participating that wants to participate. We don't make anybody participate, but if you have something you want to say, we definitely want to hear it. So don't feel shy. Go ahead and request that microphone. I see Professor is coming up in here as well too. So shout out to Professor. Shout out to Professor. Let me go ahead and make you a co-host for the night, Professor. I wonder why certain spaces, when you come into them, you can go ahead and it'll ask you if you want to be a speaker or a listener, but I can never get that coming into this space. So like I can never get it with somebody if they want to be a listener or a speaker coming into the space. They got to always request it. Wonder why that is. Shout out to YouTube, Nat. I see you over there on YouTube as well too. So shout out to you as well. What's up?
Shout out DJ and Newstoter, Sister No Taxation. Good to see y'all up in here tonight. This is a great topic, man. As always, Newstoter, man, you bring some great topics to these spaces, no doubt about it.
Well, tonight, Professor, we got three of them we're gonna touch up on because I don't know if you heard about that Black World Conference where you got a bunch of black global leaders all from over the world over here in the United States, and you also got the National Urban League released their 2023 State of the Black American, just telling them exactly what they feel is going on in the nation as well too. And then you got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He went ahead and announced his candidacy for president of the United States. He's running as a Democrat, big time. People say big time anti-vaccine person as well too. He has a name. He has a pedigree. We know the Kennedy name at one time was gold. It's been a long time since you had a Kennedy in the White House. A lot of people don't think he really has a realistic chance or whatever, and they feel like he might actually be better suited as running as a Republican. That ain't gonna happen, but nonetheless, we're gonna get into all that tonight.
Yeah, that's a good one right there, man. RFK Jr. because his dad, of course, he ran, and of course we know what happened, which it kind of wonder, is it in the back of his mind about what happened to his dad, and of course what happened to his uncle? So that's something to think about, y'all. I mean, it seems to be a curse on the Kennedy family. Quite a few of the men in that family have died in some of the strangest and some of the most violent ways. So it just makes you wonder in the back of his mind if this is something that he really needs to do. So.
Yeah, that's something that it's been a long time, but you're right, Professor. With the exception of Ted, and I guess nobody really considered Ted serious. Like Ted was the senator up there in Massachusetts, Ted Kennedy, but nobody really, and he did run for president. Of course, he had that incident with the woman dying in the car, drowning and stuff like that, and pretty much left it from what everybody says. So he was no real threat to ever be president of the United States. And he also challenged a sitting president Jimmy Carter as well too, which kind of gave a little bit of a split to the actual Democratic Party. But it's real interesting at this point in time. Joe Biden has not really officially announced, and the Democrats hadn't really officially endorsed him. So you wonder, like, what's going on behind the scenes there? Are they kind of hoping that Joe go ahead and take a seat? Because, with his age and how fragile he is, and I'm pretty sure he ain't in the greatest of health either.
Yeah, he need to take a seat.
Yeah, so you wonder, like, because they hadn't come out and officially endorse him yet. Now, this is a sitting president, a man who was a 2-time vice president. And you don't hear a whole lot of hoopla going on for like, yeah, Joe, come out and announce and let everybody know that you run. Everybody kind of, we'll wait and see on what's what. But on that note, go ahead, Professor.
I was just gonna say, bro, Joe Crow, man. If you look at all his videos, and I have went back and looked at all the videos of him since he became president, he just looks so lost and distant. And you notice it's almost like people are having to hold his hand every time wherever he goes to make sure that he's going in the right direction. So go back and look at some of the videos of where he has gone to certain places. Like I remember seeing him at like a job factory somewhere up north, and I think he was giving a speech there, and of course he was walking around looking at the people working, but he looked like he ran off on his own and got away from the people that he's supposed to have stuck by. He kind of walked off, and you could tell the people that was with him was wondering where the hell is he going. And I think even his Secret Service people were like, shit, where the hell is Joker going? And so then you go look at the video with him, and when he went over to Ukraine here recently, if you notice, what's the guy's name? Zelensky. Zelensky was having to, I think, kind of hold his hand a little bit from what I saw to kind of guide him, man. So I'm like, man, something's up with this, man. We got to get this guy out of here. Shit. Is he 81, 82 or something like that?
I don't know. I know he's up there, but he seems older than what his actual age is. Like you said, he seems pretty feeble and whatnot. So they definitely trying to get this dude up out of there, man. He seems, even though Trump and him and Trump got to be around the same age, it can't be much of a difference. Trump seems like he has more life in him than Biden. Biden seems like the winner almost blow him over. So. Okay, shout out to more of our people coming up in here. Let me go ahead and get this thing, get ready to get it rolling. I see A Boogie has decided to join us tonight, so shout out to him and Nita and Andre and some of the other people that's coming up in the space as well too. First article we got is from the Defender Network in Texas, Houston, I believe. Curator on the Newstoter.com platform. Let me give a shout out to my girl Diane over there on YouTube. Diane, you in both spots. You in YouTube and you over here in the Twitter space as well too. So that's somebody who definitely loves the Newstoter family. So shout out to that sister. Shout out to the Nat. He's always holding it down over there in YouTube world as well too. So we gotta get them YouTube subscribers up, man. We gotta get them subscribers up so we can start having as many people in the space as we have in YouTube as well too. But first article is the state of Black America reveals hate rising in the U.S. Like I say, this was published by Defender Network, curated by the Newstoter.com platform. The actual article is in the Jumbotron, and the actual article is also in the description on YouTube. The National Urban League's 2023 State of Black America report concluded that an uptick in police brutality, specifically against Black Americans, is no coincidence. Across the nation, white supremacist groups and domestic terror cells have infiltrated law enforcement, the military ranks, posing a threat to homeland security and the public. The report highlights 5 topics revealed as troubling threats. A hate manifesto, the rise in violent hate crimes across America, number 1. Number 2, tracking parental rights, movement rooted in racism, the threat within education. Number 3, hate in the nation, the threat within America's political system. Number 4, a threat to national security, hate within law enforcement and the military. Number 5, the divided state of America, a surge of divisive policies. I got to say, there's nothing really surprising about that because we know white supremacists, and they've been giving these reports for years that they have infiltrated. And I wouldn't say they infiltrated because they've always been in the police department. They've always been in the military, so they haven't infiltrated. You can't infiltrate something that you've always been a part since the time that it was actually founded. So let me go to the state of Black America, which also drew from information from the Brennan Center, noted that the FBI reported that white supremacists pose a persistent threat of lethal violence that has produced more fatalities than any other category of domestic terrorists since 2000. And FBI policy documents have also warned against assigned to domestic terrorism cases that white supremacist and anti-government militia groups they investigate often have active links to law enforcement officials. The National Urban League's report stated countries from around the world have been destabilized by military and law enforcement coups led by extremists holding right wing ideologies to protect our communities and our democracy. We must take this threat seriously. The authors of the report said that groups of state and federal lawmakers working with shady political operatives and violent extremists and dangerously close to destroying American democracy and replacing it with an autocratic rule. The 2023 report titled Democracy in Peril Confronting the Threat Within sounds the alarm about extremist ideas taking root in classrooms, law enforcement, the military, and halls of Congress. The mainstreaming of extremist ideology threat to American democracy, the rule of law, and decades of hard-won progress toward an equitable, inclusive, and more perfect union, National Urban League President and CEO Mark H. Morrow said, no longer limited to passing out leaflets on the street corners or huddling in corners of dark web, conspiracy mongers and white nationalists openly spew their bile across social media and cable television, he continued. They weave it into the public policy they impose on their constituents. It corrodes the trust between police, the military, and communities they are sworn to protect and serve. The report also draws on data and analysis from the Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL, and UCLA Law. The State of Black America reveals how deeply extremist ideas have crept into America's most important institutions, leading to a rising tide of deadly violence, harsh laws, and racial tensions being used as weapons. A special section of the report talks about Morrow's 20 years as president and chief executive officer the National Urban League. The section shows how his leadership has changed over the last 2 decades. Another special section of the report called A Climate and Crisis, made in partnership with American Council on Renewable Energy, makes a case for equal economic opportunity and environmental justice. The mainstreaming of extremist ideology is a threat to American democracy, the rule of law, decades of hard-won progress towards an equitable, inclusive, and more perfect union, Moore wrote in the report. So I don't think it's really anything that most of us already have not understand. If we're looking at news, if we're looking at social media, if we constantly see the actual interaction between the Black communities and law enforcement, if we see some of the news and some of the reports about, some of the things that's going on in the military, if we see the way certain things are being edged out of schools in terms of history, excluding Black history and certain things, I don't think anything that the report said we already pretty much did not know. Shout out to Black Native. I see you up in the space as well, too. And Dana, I see you up in the space as well, too. So this report also, guys, this came from the Urban League. So you can pretty much take it how you want. But like I say, pretty much what they said, I would agree with most of it. You could always add more things to it as well, too. It was pretty much, it was the Black American report. I would have liked to seen a little bit more based on the actual financial state of Black America as well, too. So yeah, the things that they're talking about in terms of crime, in terms of social justice, in terms of politics, in terms of education, in terms of everything. I really don't have a political system. I really don't have an issue with it, racism and stuff like that. But it would also been interesting if they would have also included in this actual report as well to what's going on in terms of Black people and how they're doing in this country in 2023 financially as well too. I think that's just as important. I think you have to include that as well too. We've seen recently in the past few week or so that they're talking about the actual income that you make in this country. When they're talking about you basically almost have to make $300 some thousand today to equal $100 some thousand from years past. So the dollar is really hurting. And like I say, financially, I would like to know exactly how we can and what do they say about what can be done financially to help Black people as well in this country too. But like I can't, you go from 1 to 5. I can't really disagree with a lot what they said. They're talking about the hate manifesto, that was number one, the rise in violent hate crimes across America. Not surprising. Hate crimes have been on the rise for a while. So I mean, that's I don't think, like I said, anybody here would disagree with that. Tracking parental rights movement rooted in racism, a threat within education. Well, we did a space on that. And we was talking about how just here in Florida, how you got, and we see Ron DeSantis, everything that he's doing in Florida, but you had a school that because of one parent complained about a second graders watching Ruby Bridges, they end up having to take that off. They've pretty much went ahead and some of these textbooks and stuff kind of written Rosa Parks out of history and took her from being a black woman and giving up her seat and basing it on color to basically she's just been a woman that had to move. So we see that. We know exactly what they're doing, what they don't want to be taught in class and in school. They're talking about people that were slaves or almost indentured servers or workers, and just a whole lot of changing up everything when it comes to education, especially when it's dealing with black folks. Hate in the nation, a threat within America's political system. Nothing new there. Like I said, we pretty much already know that. We see that. You can see that in January 6th when they went up there and they bum rushed the Capitol. Not to, I mean, and you just add everything else that's going on as well too. So we see the constant bickering and beef. We hear people mention the woke and this and that or whatever. The bell whistles that they're blowing. And number five, the divided state of America, a surging divisive policies. Once again, like I say, I can't argue anything on there, but I would like to see something more inclusive, talking about the financial situation that's going on in this country as well too. How much widening is the black and white wealth gap getting? What's the unemployment numbers for black people in 2023? What's the numbers in terms of job creation for black people? How many what type of funding are black people getting? Just certain things. What's the actual value of black homes? Simple things I want to know financially about. So, like I said, they covered a number of things, and it all dealt with race, but also financially, you have to deal with the race issue as well too. So, certain things I would definitely like to know exactly how many entrepreneurs we got, and everything else that's going on as well too. So, I can't really argue against most of that, but like I said, I did feel there was a little bit of vagueness that we could have went ahead and included some of the financial things as well too. So, social justice and political and every education, everything is great and dandy, but we also need to know about the actual bottom line when it comes to finances in this country, because as we see, it's getting more and more expensive. And like I said, what they're saying now, it takes almost 300 some $1,000s to equal 100 some $1,000. So basically, they're trying to say that if you're making $300,000 now in America, now you're just basically almost working class, middle class. At one time, $100,000 was the key number that a lot of people focus on and tried to get to as a goal to say, hey, I've made it. We're upper middle class, but that's no longer the case. $100,000 is, and definitely depending on where you live at. If you're living in New York, California, Seattle, any of those places, that is definitely not upper middle class. That's more of a working class. There's some places where $100,000 you can make a year and you're still living pretty nice, pretty good for the most part. You're not as stressed out, but the $100K goal that people used to aim and shoot for, no longer the case. So now, the goalposts have been moved, and now you got almost get up 300 some $1,000, and that's about the median price for a house in this country as well, to 300 and some K. So, any guys want to speak or say anything, please feel free to open the mic. I'm going to go ahead also and touch up on some of these other topics as well too. But if you guys want to speak, by all means, go ahead, request a microphone, and DJ and Professor, they will go ahead and allow you to speak. Professor, go ahead. You got it.
Thank you, Newstoter. And just want to say peace, power, and reparations to everybody in space. Shout out to my people up in here, Sister Wilson. I see she just came up. She brings the fire. Love to listen to your sister when you come up in here. And then, of course, I see Dana step up in here. Y'all go check her out on YouTube. She always has a great platform there with Judge Joe Brown. Shout out to you, Dana. And that's Dana with the caucasoid hand. Because when she comes up here, that's when she throws up the caucasoid hand. But anyway, my brother Ray Smith right there, good to see you. Black Native down there. DJ, of course. And No Taxation. And Social right there. News Story, this report, man, I'm just going to be honest with you. as Black Americans, as good as it's good to have this report, I think we all pretty much know the report, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm saying, what's up? What's up with the financial aspect as well too? I heard anything in the report dealing with like the actual, like I said, I want to know about the actual. You mentioned everything in terms of the hate and this and that. We already know the hate. We already know the relationship between black people and politicians and law enforcement and the military and this and that. What's going on with the financial aspect as well too? What's going on with the actual the wealth gap and the actual property value that black people have and don't have and this and that or whatever? I want to hear some of those numbers as well. But you got it, Professor. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you fine, bro. I was about to say we have some of that. You know, if you think back to some of the spaces that you have held, where we have talked about the wealth gap. Like I think it's what white people own 86%, or it might be 90% now. 90% of the wealth in the country. I think that's one of the numbers, and we are like down there like at 10%, man. We don't. I mean, we're at the bottom of the totem pole, and so we kind of got an idea. And then they keep mentioning this whole thing about the fact that we're gonna be out of. I mean, we're gonna be totally at the bottom. Come what 2053? I think is what they've been saying.
Yeah, something like 2053, 55. Yeah.
So but if you look at what's going on right now in this country, it's like they're making moves to try to quickly put us out of anything possible of economic growth, and we might actually hit that target before 2053, y'all, because that's kind of where they trying to take us to. They're trying to get us out of here before 2053. So really, the report there. I think as Black Americans, we know the report, man. We can feel the report daily when we go out here and we look at all our people that's living out here in poverty in the streets of America. You look over there. What is that over there in Oakland? That's Skid Row, right? Over in Oakland.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You look at all that. Because I think some people call it Tent City. See, you look at all of that, and then you look over there in Atlanta. They got a tent city going on over there. And then I think in South Carolina, look at the poverty rate there over there for Black Americans. Then here in the Black Belt, right here in Alabama, where I'm at, poverty is just taking us all on out, man. Along with everything else that's going on with our health, our mental stability in this nation, everything that's happening to us, man. It's just all a conglomerate of what's looking really gloom. I guess you could say doom and gloom for us. So the report, as good as it is to have a report, I think we pretty much know as Black Americans, we got to keep fighting to make sure that we can turn this around. And I do mean we need to turn around as quickly as possible.
Yeah, Professor. Like I said, and like you said, we've mentioned this before in a number of spaces, and it's nothing earth shattering that we heard in the report. And like I say too, I don't understand why the financial aspect was left out of there as well. So that's a little bit of a head scratcher for me right there. You're including everything else, but you need to go ahead and put that financial aspect in there as well too, and just let people say, because this is supposed to be something that's pressing and something that's supposed to grab people's attention and jar them. Well, hey, nothing jars you anything more than anything saying that your pockets are completely flat broke as well too. So that's something that they could have went ahead and added in there as well too. I'm gonna go ahead real quick, and I'm gonna touch up. And I know some of you guys have heard about the Black World Conference. You got leaders from all over the African diaspora that are meeting in Baltimore from April 19th to the 23rd. So I'm going to go ahead and cover that real quick as well too. Well, so I'm going to get to you real quick. This is a real short article. Then I got you, sister. This is from the Chicago Crusader. It says Black leaders from across the globe to convene in Baltimore for State of the Black World Conference. I cover this real quick. I'm just a very short article, and I'm just going to mention where some of these leaders from. I'm not even going to name them by name. A star-studded list of Black leaders from around the world will convene in Baltimore from April 19th to 23rd for the State of Black World Conference. The conference will be held at the Baltimore Convention Center and feature panels and sessions on a range of issues like global black economic empowerment, gentrification, police reform, reparations, and others. The conference will also feature international town halls on the state of black people across the globe, a hip hop summit, an African marketplace, and an award ceremony honoring dynamic pan African leaders from around the globe. This conference is not to be missed, said Dr. Ron Daniels, president of the Institute of the Black World 21st Century, which is convening the 5 day event. After all we have seen and experienced over the last 3 years, it is imperative that Black leaders from across the globe come together to plan our collective path forward. There is still much work to be done to right the wrongs of the vestiges of slavery that continue to affect our people around the world. All roads lead directly to Baltimore. Organized around the theme Global Africans Rising, Empowerment, Reparations, and Healing, heads of state from Africa and the Caribbean and the who's who's of Black America are slated to attend. Okay, so we have attending this, we have the president from Ghana, we have the prime minister from the Barbados, we have the prime minister from Grenada, we have the former prime minister of Jamaica, we have the mayor of Baltimore, we have the National Urban League president, we have the vice president of advocacy director of Washington Bureau of the NAACP, we have the inaugural dean ethnic students department Cal State LA, we have the co-founder of Black Voters Matter, we have President slash CEO Fraser Net and Power Networking Conference. We have founder Me Too Movement. We have lead sponsor HR 40. We have President University of the West Indies. We have the son of Marcus Garvey, Global Pan Africanist. We have the mayor of Newark, New Jersey. We have the author investor of networking specialist, chairman local host planning advisory committee, senior pastor empowerment temple AME church, State of the Black World Conference. That's what it is. And when, like I said, is from April 19th to 23rd, Baltimore Convention Center. So, yeah, guys, we have a who's who. DJ, I see your man, Baraka, he's up in here. Like we say, Marcus Garvey Jr., you got Tarana Burke, you got Mark Morrell, the one we just speaking about with the Urban League. So we have a who's who's. We have, just to name a couple people, the honorary Brandon Scott, mayor of Baltimore, former prime minister of Jamaica, PJ Patterson, of course, the African president of Ghana, Nana, can't say his whole name, sorry about that. But yeah, we have a who's who of people that's actually doing this, and this is supposed to be about a global Black African Black global diaspora movement. So we're gonna see how exactly this plays out. I found it interesting that when they were talking about having town halls on Black people across the globe, a hip hop summit. I don't really know why a hip hop summit would make it to that point. To be honest, African marketplace, and I mean, I just maybe I'm confused on that, but I don't see why you need to do a hip hop summit. But oh well. Wilson, I know you had your hand up, sister. So go ahead and speak. I just want to cover that real quick. Original, I see you up here as well too. So shout out to you. Go ahead, Wilson. You got it. How you doing tonight, sister?
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good.
Good. I read that report last night, and it was light. And I tweeted it. I mean, he was so busy with his wife being, a delegate from Harris's upon her invitation to Ghana. He should have been home doing more homework, because all that he wrote in that report, we already knew that. All of that is light. That's the same crap, just written in a different way every year. What I want to know from him is basically, when you talk about, for example, you mentioned housing. I'll tell you something. When I was asked back in 2021 to speak at the California Reparations Task Force for Real Estate, because that's what I do in California. I'll give you just a little bit. This is what I want to know from him. I want to know from Moriel, like in California, when it came to appraisal values on our homes, okay? All right? In California, 23%, all right, of the homes were appraised. It was based on our skin color. Under appraised, 23%. And I had to go to the Brookings Institute to do this homework to find out what does that 23% amount to. cumulatively 156 billion in lost equity for our people, okay, which could have financed 4 million Black-owned businesses and paid for 8 million college degrees for Black American scholars to go to school. But 23% of those homes were underappraised based on skin color. And I say this to say because when you talk about, say, for example, Black women, okay, and you say Black women are highly educated in this country, all right? And so they made up 68% of associate's degree, 66% of bachelor's degrees, 71% of master's degrees, and 65% of doctoral, like medical, advanced degrees like that. And yet they are getting paid 64 cents for every dollar a white man makes when they want to go and have entrepreneurial endeavors. Okay? Why isn't the Moriel asking to audit these banks and upend what really is going on, which is the egregious lending practices against Black people, particularly Black entrepreneurs, like Black women who want to go into business, and they're facing not getting funded to get access to capital money to start a business or expand it. Egregious prejudices against them from conventional lenders. No support. What about the trade deficit between white corporate America and Black businesses? That they want Black dollars, but they will not put advertising or marketing into the Black community. They are not doing their job. We don't give a shit about the race. We already know that. They're not doing their jobs. The fact of the matter is, the medical disparities that parents are dealing with their children. I will tell you, I was reading somewhere last year, and I have to look it up. This whole thing about, lupus is very prevalent among Black women or Black people. Guess what? It's not. You know why? Because of the lack of medical care, or quality medical care, I should say. Because you can get the medical care, but it's shit. They don't give a damn about Black health. This thing called lupus, okay, a lot of it is linked to hypo or hyper thyroid issues. If diagnosed early, okay, can be quelled. If diagnosed late, can turn into lupus. And what happens in the process is that your kids could be could have a hypo glands and not focus in school, and then what happens is these teachers, they have learning disabilities. They throw them on, they need medicine, they put them on Ritalin. A lot of this is a fast track for your child to be red flagged, to mentally disabled. They don't give a damn, and they're not talking about that either. They're not talking about the fact that there is a fast track to jail because these damn teachers are married to these cops. They're not talking about the fact that all of this Office of New American bill that the Biden-Harris administration has put forth, when you look at it, if you were to read it, all of Black America's reparations is right in there, but they're giving it to these people coming in here who don't earn to come in this damn country legally. They crawl through pipes of shit, and when they come here, they turn around and look at you and call you a nigger. Reparations is right there. You can't graduate from college and be guaranteed a job. And not everybody's cut out for college, and that's okay. There's no training. It used to be in high school. They talk about the criminals and these young people in Chicago the other day. Fact of the matter is a lot of those kids have nothing to go to, nothing, no training, no nothing. They need something to do. And we need to call this man out and the National Urban League because they're not doing their job, guys. They're not giving us the nitty-gritty. This trade deficit is huge, but let me tell you something else that's going to be very interesting with this country. And you see, we will only start benefiting from stuff when white people really start suffering. When I say something like suffering, and that is this thing called BRICS. And it is an alliance, and it's I don't know. You can never say never. But you got Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa coming together in an attempt to distance themselves from the U.S. currency by creating their own currency. India and China is included. Two countries that America is responsible for growing their middle class. Those two countries, the fastest growing middle class in the world is India and China. The other day, India just surpassed China's population. We support communism by having our manufacturers over in China. They're looking to destroy us. And no one is really paying attention to that. And as it pertains to black people, we need to demand that this National Urban League, you need to go back and do your homework. You're not telling us what we really need to know. Credit rating. Credit rating is prejudice against a minority people in this country. We need to fix that because it's bullshit and it's a money bag. We've got people out here that are going blind because they can't get proper care for cataract. Something so damn basic and easy to relinquish through laser surgery, but they don't have access to it. My sister is getting her PhD in nursing, OBGYN, and she tells me this is a sister who graduated number 2 from Rutgers University, went on to be an Air Force, a flight nurse in the Air Force during Desert Storm War, came back, got her master's at Columbia first, then got another master's at Yale. Then she was asked to run Planned Parenthood in San Francisco, where she got her MBA at the Haas School of Business, and now she's back on the East Coast getting her PhD, and she's catching hell from some goddamn African who doesn't know his job but is cheap labor. That's another problem that in our medical, that they're importing all these foreigners because they don't want to pay scale, and what they're getting is the poorest of bedside manners. And we better wake up, and we've got to hold these people that we stop donating to these people, National Urban League, because if that's what you're donating to get, you need to just do the damn report yourself and save your money. Like the NAACP, which is full of shit. I was pissed off when I read that goddamn report because they didn't give us shit, and it's disrespectful. They're out to kill us, like I said yesterday. Kill us. And forget about 2053, it might be 2033. And I land.
All right. Thank you, Wilson. Appreciate that. And like me and Professor said, that report was pretty light. We've covered more stuff in these spaces than what they actually put in that report. So
that's what I was saying. Man, look, your spaces give our people the information, man. Their report didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah, I didn't when I saw that I read that report earlier and I was like, my Lord, I'm like, who actually came up with this? Because I know some high school kids that could have came up with a more detailed report than what they just put out here. I mean, you can't be serious. Nothing like I said.
I'm just really upset because it is we deserve better. We deserve better than that. And he's out there kiki in Ghana. You needed to be here and get this report. It's serious for us.
Well, now he's over there, and they're doing the actual Black World Conference right now. So he's with him in Baltimore doing this as well too. So we'll see exactly what this Black World Conference is supposed to yield as well too. So I'm definitely interested to hear what you got to say about this original, both about the actual report that I just read and this actual this conference that they got going on with all of these leaders from the Caribbean and Africa, as well as some of the ones here in America as well too. So I find this to be very, 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 very interesting. And what I said, I still don't understand what in the world does hip hop have to do when you're talking about something like this. I mean, a hip hop something like this, to me, this pretty much lets you know that this is BS right here. Love hip hop, grew up in hip hop, came up in hip hop from the time as a baby, from the time hip hop started getting started and whatnot. Love that hip hop was able to provide people to become entrepreneurs and millionaires and billionaires and create wealth and this and that or whatever. Great, fine or whatever. But I mean, we're really talking about having a conference, a major conference, and you talk about having all of these the African diaspora meeting together. You can have a hip hop summit another time. You can include hip hop another time in something else. You don't really need to include hip hop in this right here. So I'm flabbergasted about that part as well too. But go ahead, Original. I definitely want to hear what you got to say.
Okay, see, I missed the report because I was at a community meeting, and for some reason, when I got out of the meeting, my the banner with the spaces wouldn't pop up on my phone. So I said, okay, I just get it when I get home. It popped up. But which report did you read so I can go back and read it in a minute?
Well, the state I read the actual the National League's 2023 State of Black American report. But the actual, and I just got through talking about the actual Black Conference, World Conference that they're having with all of the Black leaders throughout the African diaspora, that included hip hop in there. So and it said this real quick. It says the conference will also feature international town halls on the state of Black people across the globe, a hip hop summit, an African marketplace, in a ceremony honoring dynamic Pan-African leaders from around the globe. Now they're supposed to be covering in this. They're going to be covering a range of issues. They're supposed to have feature panels on sessions and ranges such as global Black economic empowerment, gentrification, police reform, reparations, and others. I just thought it was funny when I heard them including the hip hop summit in it. But
yeah, see, here's my issue. Okay, now when Tyreek did his reparations summit in D.C., he raised money from the grassroots to put this on. Now, Ron Daniels, Mark Thompson, these Cobra people, NARC, they all are taking now. It costs to rent these venues in where is it, Maryland or DC or wherever? Those venues are not cheap. Where did they get the money to rent those venues? Okay? And when you look at all the paraphernalia they're going to have at the conferences, where did they get the money to pay for that stuff? No one is asking that. And we have to understand that the NAACP, the Urban League, those are not, they were all founded by white folks. Those are not Black organizations. They are not going to do anything that's going to progress us forward because they were not designed to do that. They used perception management to make us believe that they were there to assist us when they have been undermining us all along. So Mark Mariel, he's doing exactly what he is being paid to do. because he is being paid to run a deception campaign on black people. See, he's doing fine. They're paying him money to make him look good when he stepped before us. But see, when you look behind the curtain, who knows what he's doing on his knees behind those curtains? You know, all of them. And now, see, here is the issue. The grassroots in America, they made reparations a hot issue. These little white organizations with black employees, they couldn't do that. As I said before, and Cobra came into being in 1987, and they couldn't get reparations popping the way it's popping now. Okay, that's what 46 years that they've been in business, you know, and they couldn't get it popping. But now they want to come and see. I heard something where that old Mark Thompson guy, he said, well, they can get their own. Okay, we got our own, and it's going to outshine you. Because, see, without us, you don't have anything. And see, when you look at these organizations, a lot of them, they may have some, they may have some young people, but they don't have the young people who have that grit. Those young people who know what goes on in the street. They got the more, I guess you could say, acceptable young people that white folk would deem acceptable, and they would speak the correct English. You know, that's what they have. But see, we got that grit, and we know how to make things happen. So that's what that right there is about. Because, like I said, all these people, and I'm sure Agent Al Sharpton is going to be there. He more than likely will be there, or someone from his little white finance organization will be there. And that's how we have to start looking at these people as being white finance organizations. They're not representing us. They have been given an edict that to don't speak on anything regarding us. If you do, you better make sure you say people of color, because see, the meeting I just came from, these people were saying, well, I'm a person, I said, I'm black. And everybody step back. I don't do people of color and minority. I said, I'm black and proud of it. So we have to watch that and make sure that people understand exactly what we're saying when we step before them. But this is nothing but, even with the African country, with all the mineral wealth they got, and you look at the conditions that they're in, but they want to tell us that we're in bad shape. Now, the people the grassroots in those countries, some of them, I do think that we have an opportunity to, maybe connect with them. But the one that's in political power, they are no more different than the ones here who come around us every election cycle, and they don't provide. They use our vote to represent every demographic except for us. That's exactly what's happening. So no, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Because, like I said, they get a check. They can't speak freely. See, if you notice, let me give you an example. When y'all know the NAACP Image Awards, right? See, it was Marla Gibbs and some other people who started that Image Award. And so initially, the national chapter of the NAACP didn't have anything to do with it. But when it became popular and it was popping, they jumped in and took over. You see, because this brother named LeGrand Clegg, he was working with some of those people. He's a community brother out there in LA. He lived in Compton, and he was part of that initial group. So yeah, they got it popping, and then the national came in and took it over. See, that's how they operate. They do not own what they do. It is owned by white folks. And that's why I say Mark Morrell, he's doing exactly what he's been paid to do, to deceive us. And see, we have to go out and begin to effectively communicate with one another, and we have to write our own report. We have the ability to do that, and we have the expertise to do that. Hell, just listening to Wilson, what she just said, I know we have the ability to do that. So I'm gonna land on that. And especially if you got that coon that DJ talked about, Ross Coon Baraka. if anything that he's involved, if he, Ron Daniels, Mark Morrell, Al Sharpton, or any of these white finance groups that are used to deceive black people are involved, you already know it's not going anywhere. And the same thing with these African countries. And I find it interesting. They got, like you said, hip hop. See, they always want to do a song and dance thing with black. They don't. That's to show the white people that we just gonna meet, but we ain't gonna do nothing serious. You know, it's just gonna be shucking and jiving, and we're not gonna really be doing. See, if they were gonna do hip hop, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they have that brother Wise Intelligent for poor righteous teachers? See, he give them something. He would give them something to talk about. See, they're not gonna have anyone with a mind like his. They're gonna get their old commercial rapper who will just all they're gonna spit out is the degenerate stuff. So that's exactly what they're doing, and that's what they're about. And I'll land with that.
All right.
Say something to Original. I want to share something with all of you.
Real quick, because Dana's got her hand up.
Okay, real quick. National Urban League, there's a building in right outside of Leimert Park that they used to be in. I just found out about a month ago that they let that building go into foreclosure. The beautiful, gorgeous brick-faced building sitting on the corner prominently, that was their building. They owned it. They allowed it to go into foreclosure. And
that was on Mount Vernon, right? That was on Mount Vernon, right?
Yep. And some white boy picked it up. When I tell you, fabulous building that right now, I don't know what it would have been appraised at then, but whatever that number was, right now I know for a fact would have been about 40% higher in appraisal value today. This is what I'm talking about with these people. They are no good, and they're undermining black people across the nation. They're no damn good. Let that gorgeous building go.
Newstoter, I got a show that I gotta start. I just wanted to come on and say something real
quick. Go ahead, Dana. Go ahead.
And hopefully you have like a part 2, because it's another conference that's going on this weekend, the Black Agenda Conference, which is more American-based for Black Americans with actual solutions. And I've mentioned this before that I used to be part of the IBW when they hosted the conference in 2016, the State of the Black World Conference. They have it every 4 years, and I was part of the hosting committee in 2016. And then 4 years later, COVID happened, and now they have this. But hearing what so far what people were saying, the whole thing with the State of the Black World, if you look on that website and you read the agenda and their scheduling, it's about globalism. It's not about what's happening in America. They're including everyone in the world to be under, this one government type of ideology. And but they're with this particular conference, they're using blackface because they are including LGBTQAI. They are including Me Too, and those two things alone is decimating Black people, and for different reasons. But I do know for sure that organization and this conference is not about Black Americans. And, people need to start understanding, number one, you have to do a compare and contrast. It's nothing to get upset about, because these are people that's going to do what they need to do to access power, because this is a power move, and to access capital. But the problem that I have, now I'm going to bring it back to Black people. The problem I have with Black people, just for example, when you were just talking about a building that I guess the organization let go in foreclosure and a white man came and bought it. Well, why didn't a Black person come in and buy that building that went in foreclosure? Someone maybe from the neighborhood or community, or a Black person from the outside. I think what we need to start understanding, because we know the truth, we know that these people are not for Black Americans, wherever you want to call yourself, identify yourself in America. We already know they're not for us, and their agenda is not for us, it's actually against us. So the thing where we need to go right now is solutions. What are you doing about it? Because if it is about power, how do you obtain power? And that is through politics, that is through organizing. And you talk about capital, and I think it was Professor earlier. We are the bottom caste, and they are choosing us to continue to be the bottom caste because we don't do anything about it. How can someone illegally come over here and get all these damn benefits? Why? Because they latch onto their group of people. when you have John Leguizamo, who's doing his documentary, saying that, you know, Latinos fought in every war and we built this country. So they're changing the narrative for their group of people. So I think we need to just stop complaining about what a Mark Marial, he's old. It's all about him and his family legacy. It's not even about the State of the Black World Conference, because I already know that they're full of shit, and I have shared that before. And I think we need to support the Black Agenda Conference that's going on in Atlanta, you know, and we need to support and look to that type of gathering. Never mind what they're doing, because what they're doing is a power move, and they're using us. So it's up to us to change that narrative. Like, there's no, it's enough of the excuses. Black people in general are too emotional. I don't care if it's a white person. You don't have to elect somebody that's Black, you know, just because you have the same skin color doesn't mean they're for you. We know all this. So what is the solutions? Because if we don't have solutions right now, then yeah, we're going to be a permanent bottom caste. And every society throughout the world, in every century, right, has a bottom caste. That's just how society works. And in America, Black Americans are the bottom caste. So, but I got to start my show.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That was Dana with the Caucasoid hand, everybody.
Yes, honey, because it matches, be quiet, it matches my hair, it matches my shirt and my picture and my skin. Yes. So that's what I say. Get off the color. Stop focusing on the color. Focus on the solutions, Mr. Professor. But that hip-hop panel, you know, don't get caught up in the hip hop panel, because we had a hip hop panel when I was on the committee, and I wanted to bring in Star from the Star Report, and now that is for young people, because you have to understand, young people, we do express ourselves through music, through hip hop, right? It's part of the culture, and that's fine. But the underlying, the whole purpose of that conference, it is about globalism, and that is a problem for us, America, period, and especially for Black Americans. So, but I'll definitely hop on your space tomorrow night if you have it tomorrow night, and then I think we should talk about the Black Agenda that's going on this weekend, because Judge Joe Brown, he's going to be on a panel there, and a couple other people. So I'm glad you're having this conversation talking about the Black World Conference, and I think that's a good idea tomorrow to talk about the Black Agenda here in America.
I don't think tomorrow night, Dana, I'm going to be doing one tomorrow night. It'll probably be back Sunday night. I'll probably be doing something.
Wow, what you doing? What you doing tomorrow? Why?
I'm chilling. I'm relaxing.
Well, this is work. I know it's Friday night. It could be a fun Friday night Twitter space. So people get paid on Friday. You get more donations. I'm gonna persuade you to do one tomorrow night, but
hey, Dana, we might have to talk to him a little bit, see if we can get him to do it.
Right. All right. So thank you so much, and I'll hop on whenever I see you go live again on Twitter space. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, Dana. Thank you for coming through tonight. Volvo, Mr. Volvo, I see you had your hand up. You want to go ahead and say something? You there, Volvo? Try it again, because you sound a little bit choppy there.
I don't know what's going on. Hold on, I'm gonna have to come back up.
Okay. We'll let Volvo come back up. He sounded clear at the last minute, so hopefully he'll come.
Yeah, he actually did.
Yeah,
he sounded good.
Yeah, he sounded clear at the last second, so hopefully he'll come back up. And some of our other people in here also, we're going to touch up on the Robert.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, Volvo.
Yeah, I just had a question. I didn't catch the whole space. I was when they say Black World Conference, what that mean? Like all the leaders?
Basically, you got one person from Ghana, the president of Ghana, and you got a few leaders from the Caribbean, and I believe let me see, you got the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Prime Minister of Grenada, you got the former Prime Minister of Jamaica, and you got the rest. Everybody else is from America, pretty much, that's in here as well. And they're supposed to be having something, basically talking about Black economic empowerment, gentrification, reparations, police reform, but it's on a global aspect. So, and like Dana pointed out as well too, you have the actual founder from the Me Too movement, Tarana Burke. She's also there as well too. So you have I think you have Marcus Garvey's son, Julius Garvey, he's there. So you have quite a few different people that are. You got Pan Africans, and you got people from all over. You got the Urban League and people representing the NAACP, all of them here together and stuff. And I guess they're trying to put their heads together and come up with solutions globally for Black people worldwide.
Okay, I mean, I don't see that being a bad idea if it's like that, but I would question who's in the room. When you say prime, huh? You said what, brother?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, when you like who's like when it's prime ministers and all that meeting, that's always a good thing. But I would just question who's in the room. Are they going to like stream it or what's the situation?
Now that much I don't know, Volvo. It's from the 19th to the 23rd, and if you're talking about setting up some kind of partnerships, global partnerships, because that's something that you really don't see. If you talk about setting up a global partnership between Black Americans and those over there in Africa, West Africa, and the Caribbean, that's one thing. So only thing we can say is you got all these people meeting together. You got mayors. You got people that head up organizations here in America that's part of this actual this conference as well too. So what's going to come? What's tangible going to come out of this as well? So like I said, there's a bunch of different agendas. Dana did point it out. You have some different agendas in there as well too. And I know a lot of our people were not exactly fond of the whole Me Too movement. A lot of folks aren't. A lot of folks aren't. But you got the NAACP there. You got the Urban League there. You got Ras Baraka. You got certain people that a lot of people are really, not really that keen on that's actually participating in this. So exactly how beneficial is this going to be to Black Americans? Is it going to be some kind of partnership? Is it going to be some kind of co-op? Is it going to be what's going to happen? What's going to develop from all of this? In turn, you're talking about global economics empowerment. So globally, how are you going to help empower Black Americans? How are Black Americans going to help empower Africans or Caribbean? Is it going to be some kind of trade, a triangle trade that we're setting up here, whatever? What's what? We got to find out exactly, see what they're talking about.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea. A conference is that's just a meeting. It's a meet and greet. Let's meet up somewhere, and that's the first step to exchange this idea is to meet up and let's see, look each other in the face. Let's see what's going on. But I still, I'm skeptical on all that type of shit. When y'all want to start meeting? When y'all start doing that? What's this really about? That's the questions I'm gonna ask. Like, when y'all ain't been meeting? When Haiti wanted to be a part of Africa, they rejected Haiti. Like I don't know if y'all remember that, but Haiti wanted to be a part of the African Union, and they rejected Haiti. So I don't know when y'all start doing this. Like, when y'all who else in the room? Like I heard you said, Marcus Garvey's son. Marcus Garvey got a son? No, what do we do? Like, is he just Marcus Garvey's son? And we just supposed to respect it? Like, because if Marcus Garvey got a son, he gotta be 70?
Well, he got to be up there because I was thinking Marcus Garvey would have to be in his hundreds.
Body of work.
Yeah. Say Marcus Garvey.
I never heard of him. This is my first time hearing what's his body of work? Like, what do he do? Like, what is he known for? Like, besides being Marcus Garvey's son? Like, why he there? Is what I'm asking.
Well, he's supposed to be a global Pan-Africanist. That. I don't really, I haven't really checked up on him like that, but he's supposed to be a global Pan-Africanist.
I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that, but I mean, I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know his background either like that. I heard Marcus Garvey had a son, but I don't know much about him, anything like that. So if there's anybody in the space that may know about him, they can speak on him. But I don't really know his background, Volvo, to be honest, or whatever. I don't know what he's accomplished, what he's doing in terms of any organizations, anything like that he's leading, other than being Marcus Garvey's son and being a Pan-Africanist. I don't really know exactly what he's doing.
That's all he's accomplished. He's the son of Marcus Garvey. That's it. I never heard of the dude, and it sounds like to me most people in spaces probably have not heard of him. So that's his only accomplishment. He's the son of Marcus Garvey.
And will he get to speak for nigga? I guess, man. Damn, man, my daddy wasn't shit. Man, I can't get up there and speak. This nigga wasn't doing nothing. God damn. Like this nigga just get to just come up here because he a nigga son. That's why that type of shit be fishy to me. Like, how you get to just talk because you a nigga son? Not just bashing him. I'm just saying, like, you know, like, and you mentioned some other motherfuckers that was questionable. Like, ain't nobody respecting that, man. Like, I don't know. I gotta see what they're talking about. And after the conference, you should leave the conference with a plan. It shouldn't just be let's meet up. All right, let's meet up, slap five, hug on each other, love on each other. But after that, it needs to be a plan. It needs to be some plans getting in motion. They need to be meeting up and getting the logistics right. How we gonna move this ship? How many ships you got? We need to borrow one of them ships so we can ship this shit over there, and then we can send something back, and then we really doing business. I land my plane.
Look, Volvo, I'm in total agreement with you. If you got the president of Ghana there, and you got prime ministers, you got 2 prime ministers of these Caribbean nations, and you got a former prime minister, yeah, there's no reason if you're gonna. And you got mayors of U.S. cities there. You got people that have organizations as the head of organizations there as well too. So if you're gonna have all these people gathering around, it's got to be something worthwhile happening. Now, at the same time, like I say, you got some organizations that a lot of people don't really kick it with there as well. That's hanging out there as well too. So what's the overall agenda? Now, Dana said, and this is Dana's word, she was saying that, you know, that they also pushing an LGBT type agenda as well there too. You could say that maybe with the Me Too movement, you know, I don't know. I can't really specifically speak on it, but you know, when you got the Urban League and you got the NAACP up there as well, you know, a lot of people are not really all that down with exactly what they're talking about. So you got presidents, you got prime ministers, you got mayors, you got people that's the head of nonprofits and organizations and this and that or whatever. What tangible? It's no reason after this 4-day conference that there's not some paperwork that's signed, there's not some agreements, some trades, because hey, you got the president of Ghana right there. But the thing about it is that while we have all these organizations, we don't have any what businesses do we have on hand now? You know, what trade companies do we have on hand there? What farmers, what producers, what mechanics, what construction engineers? I mean, where are people in the business sector that's there to meet with them to go ahead and say, you know what? Okay, President Nana from Ghana, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to send X amount of material there, or we're going to get X amount of material from you guys. We're going to build this. We're going to help build the infrastructure, roads, and this and that. We're going to partner with you guys on that. We're going to partner. We got our HBCUs to help you with the agriculture because we know that you guys have some debt. You're going to help us with the food deserts here. Like, we got to see that because right now we got too many organizations and not anything in terms of business, industry, anything like that there. So, you know, we got to exactly see what's going to go on. But a lot of our people already pretty much form an opinion that they don't think much and nothing's going to go on anyway. So that's the personal thing right there. I'm just being real. I don't see any of our major businesses there. You know, I don't see any bank in there. I don't see anything like that. Like, okay, well, we got one of the top black banks in America, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to expand, and we're going to go into Ghana, and we're going to go into Jamaica, and we're going to go into the Barbados, and we're going to build some. We're going to expand over there with the banking system and help you guys, and we're going to give out loans to African businesses over there, and we're going to partner. We're going to do this or that. I don't, you know, until you actually see something tangible like that, you're right to be skeptical. Because I'm skeptical. I mean, I want to see something concrete and not just some damn pipe dream that's being sold here about this great dream and how we gonna connect and this and that or whatever. And we got this person there, we got that person there. No, we want to see something concrete. We want to see something that's going to be beneficial. If it's going to benefit the people of the Caribbean and Africa, that's cool. As long as it benefits the people of America as well too. And if this is going to be a true partnership, since we want to go ahead and talk about the world black this and the world black that. Is this going to be specifically amongst black people, or is this going to be a front with black faces being and it's actually backed by white folks in the background, or the Chinese getting money and stuff like that, but they're using black people to prop them up as puppets. In the meanwhile, they're the ones that's actually running the show, controlling it. They pulling the strings. They got these prime ministers and they got these presidents, and they're pretty much jerking them around and telling them how it's going to be. So that's another thing that we have to look out for as well, too. So real quick, y'all, in the Jumbotron on the far right-hand side, let me see, far right. Okay, not on the far right, but in the middle, we have the YouTube channel up. We was able to get 3 or 4 subscribers last night, guys. So we need to go ahead and get 3 or 4 more subscribers while everybody's up in the space right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th one in the middle. Please go ahead and subscribe to the Newstoter YouTube channel. If you have not, please go ahead and subscribe to the Newstoter YouTube channel. Also, if you can, support us on Cash App. That's $Newstoter. $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. You can support us on Cash App. That is $Newstoter. Newstoter. If you do not have a Cash App, we have the PayPal and Venmo up in the Jumbotron as well. And like Professor said, this actual report that the Urban League now put out, we've been having stuff like this in Twitter Spaces for months going on. So I don't know, like I said, I know some high school kids that could have came up and could have put up a more detailed explanation of what's actually going on in America today. So let me go ahead. I see I got my girl Rella up in here. Rella, what's going on? Unmute your mic, Sweet Pea.
Hey, Newstoter, DJ, Professor, and shout out to everyone in the room. And hello, Sentinel. How are you guys doing? How you guys doing?
Chilling.
Rera, and Bobo. Listen, so I went onto the website, and this is the thing that I think that we really have to get clear. You know, the IBW is for the Pan-African view of the globalization of, you know, how economics work. The thing that I don't see wholeheartedly is how they are representing the American piece of economics as far as us as Black Americans, our ancestral lineage in the globalization discussion. And that is one of the things I think that does hurt us a lot, and why it is, you know, to Dana's point, we didn't see someone that was Black American take over that building off of, in LA. And, you know, I want to say that that's not the only building in California, whether it's there, DC, Virginia, and any of the historical places where we should be taking over and making sure that we are the ones who are reinvesting that money as far as economics dealing with real estate. When I tell you that and I've mentioned this before, there was a meeting in Maryland in regards to the bill that Kamala tried to get passed in regards to the state of appraisals and having more Black faces being able to get access to become appraisers and actually show up in real estate. It is a real war, because these folks are not trying to allow us in. The amount of resistance that I've received just trying to complete my appraisal license and getting a mentor, they will tell you we can't do it. We don't have nothing for you. Oh, my father taught me, so good luck. I mean, they'll hang up in your face. These folks are not trying to give us access. And the one thing I don't want us to fall into the trap of with the Black World Conference is that we fall into this trap of it. It's talking about the Black World Conference, but it really is about Pan-Africans being able to, again, reposition themselves to be able to cipher money off of us or off of other poor people, even in places in the country, in Africa as well, and then leaving the lower level people to hold the bag while they run off in the sunset with all the money. So we have to develop our own organizations and actually create, I believe, a United States Black World Conference or United States country conference. And I think we compete and we show up at those conferences and we represent our particular mission, because I don't trust Ron Daniels. I don't trust the Pan-African movement, because they're not about the Black American. They're about the Pan-Africans and people who believe in the ideology and making sure only a particular group gets a repair. And they always try to say, "Oh, we're for everybody." No, you're not, because I've never met a group of people who are so willing to ignore the historical records in this country and our economic growth to the point where we aren't able to even have a representation in a meeting such as the Black World Conference. So I believe that, like many others are doing, the one thing we realize is that we're being out-organized. And the one thing that we can do definitely is we start to get organized. This is only but one conference this year. And then we take them head on if they have it next year, and that we represent all the organizations that have been developed in the United States, and we come together and we create our own united conference where all the organizations can be represented, and you get to hear from different groups so that we can have one voice and still maintain our autonomy in the organizations that we develop. And then we hit them hard, and we represent ourselves at the Black World Conference if we want to get into trading with other countries. And I don't even think it should just be with that organization. We should do it with all organizations, because if we're really about building economics, we have to create trade streamlines, especially if we're talking about moving into a black majority states in the ways that we're moving. We're going to have to get set up, and people are going to have to get activated, and we have to create almost like our own united front here in the United States to do that. So with that being said, I hope you guys go on the website, check it out. And there are groups, again, who are creating organizations, people who are developing in their community. And I advise everyone to do the same thing, and you go get that money. And I land.
All right. Thank you, Rella. Thank you. It's always good to hear from you. Real quick, Original, I want to touch up on this article about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., especially for my voice. It seems like it's kind of trying to come in and out, but we go ahead and touch up on it real quick. This is in the Jumbotron as well, too. So we got the son of Robert, the late Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy. Let me go ahead and get to him real quick. This is from ABC, curator of Newstoter.com platform. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., an anti-vaccine activist, announced Wednesday that he's running for president in 2024 as a Democrat. The son of former Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy and nephew of President John F. Kennedy, the 69-year-old attorney launched his candidacy in an overflowing ballroom at Boston Park Plaza, delivering a nearly 2-hour speech that depicted a decaying and divided country in need of a unifier from one of the country's most prominent political families. I've come here today to announce my candidacy for the Democratic nomination for President of the United States, he said, noting that the aim of his campaign and presidency would be to end the corrupt merger of state and corporate power. Kennedy, who has espoused vaccine hesitancy since the 2000s, has become one of the most prominent voices in the anti-vaccine movement as a founder of Children's Health Defense, a nonprofit organization known mainly for its anti-vaccine efforts. Kennedy, a self-described lifelong Democrat, though his support of what critics call conspiracies about COVID-19 vaccines, has garnered support from some unlikely bedfellows on the right. RFK Jr. could jump into the Republican primary for president, and only Ron DeSantis and former President Donald Trump, I think, would do better. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon recently said on MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell's streaming program Lindell TV. During this announcement, Kennedy tried to thread the needle between his party affiliations and his opponents. During this campaign and during my administration, my objective will be to make as many Americans as possible forget that they are Republicans or Democrats and remember that they are Americans, Kennedy said. We need to focus on the values we share instead of the issues that divide us, he said. Even as he dove long-winded into his years as a lawyer and accounts of historical events like the American Revolution, Kennedy projected a vision for his United States, Where people speak without fearing censorship, children are healthier, and fewer American troops are stationed abroad. I'm not an ideal presidential candidate for normal times, he said, trying to differentiate himself from candidates who he says spend their life saying, I have to be careful because one day I'm going to be in the White House. In normal circumstances, I would not do this, but these are not normal circumstances. I'm watching my country being stolen from me, he said. Interviews with several of roughly 2,000 attendees suggested Kennedy draws support from various parts of the political spectrum. Rowan May, a 25-year-old Democrat who came to the event just for interest, is searching for an alternative to Biden, whom he voted for in 2020. I regret it, he said of that vote. Diane McCamey, a 62-year-old former Trump voter, said Kennedy represents mainstream Americans. I've been a Republican forever, she said, adding that Kennedy has her vote. Kennedy's skepticism about COVID-19 vaccine appeared to be a key draw for some voters. I'm here because I believe in health freedom, says 61-year-old Patience Warnick, whose daughter had negative reactions to a round of vaccines when she was young. Kennedy will be the first Democrat Warnick, an independent, says she's voted for. He'll now face Marianne Williamson, a self-help author who announced her bid on March 4th. He'll likely also oppose President Joe Biden, who has repeatedly said he intends to run for re-election in 2024, barring some major issues such as health. However, the Democrats has not officially announced a decision. The White House declined to comment on Kennedy's presidential announcement on Wednesday, with Press Secretary Kieran Jean-Pierre invoking the Hatch Act, a law that restricts political activities of federal employees to dodge questions about potential Biden opponents. So yeah, we got another Kennedy running for office, pretty much big time against vaccines and definitely the COVID. So I really didn't know much about him as well. The last Kennedy, like I said, that actually did run for president, I said it earlier, was his uncle. Uh, what's the uncle name that died some years ago? Ted Kennedy. Ted Kennedy, lifelong senator up there in Massachusetts. Ted Kennedy ran against, of course, Jimmy Carter back in the day. And apparently when he had that incident where the woman ended up drowning in the actual car and allegedly he left her, that pretty much killed old Ted's chances of being the president. So we'll see exactly what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has to offer. A lot of people think that his stances lean more in terms of into the right, big time. Like I say, big time opponent against actual vaccines as well too. So, just wanted to go ahead and share that and put that out there as well too about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Original, you got to go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I just want to say this, Newstoter. What Bobo said was right. See, the Urban League and some of these other groups, they have been writing these, what they call it, I guess, statements. So, like, the Urban League would do a report on the state of Black America. Now, they've been doing this for quite a number of years. But like Bobo said, they all they do is write the report. They never try to implement or make any kind of changes to ensure that we progress forward. And I think now that the grassroots have taken control of this, they're running and they don't know what they're going to do. They're looking because they're looking to see what we are going to do. Now, I didn't know about this, what they call it, this Black Agenda conference here in Atlanta. I didn't know about that. I'm not sure if I'll be able to make that. But I did place my name and email in there to get updates and things on what they're going to be doing. Because I think, we have the ability. See, here's the issue right here. See, we have the ability to better organize than they do, because the majority of the people who are engaged in this, for lack of a better phrase, this movement that we have here, they are young people. And where are young people? They're on social media. And so when you engage with them on that level, they're more inclined to come out and see what you are about. See, just like I said earlier, with Tyreek. Tyreek engaged with these young people over the internet. And they love it because that's what they are. If you go to most young people's home today, They may have Wi-Fi. No, they have Wi-Fi. They don't have cable. They may or may not have a TV. They will watch whatever they watch on their phones or on a laptop. They don't do a lot of it. They don't do what they call the so-called traditional stuff like a lot of us grew up with. They do things differently these days. And so I just think that when we engage them on that level, they respond more effectively. And I'll land with that.
All right, thank you, original. I know Volvo was up here a second ago, but he must have went down or whatever.
Yeah, he dropped down.
Oh.
He dropped down because he didn't like what I was saying.
I said he just
I
came back
saw
up
him.
here. He just got back up here. So let me see if he wants to say something real quick. Volvo, you was up here and then you dropped down. You I know you had your hand up at one time. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I had got a phone call. I had to take a phone call. Man, I was just talking to my girl, and she was saying that she heard that this is happening in Baltimore.
Yes, sir.
This conference thing.
Yeah. Yes,
What?
it's going on in Baltimore. Yes, sir.
So what? The president of Ghana is. I'm sorry, I'm missing for. I don't know nothing. I've been at work all day.
It's Grenada.
You also got the president of Ghana here as well. You got Nana. He's
right, but the president of Grenada is hosting it. Yeah, they're already here. It started to the 19th to the 23rd.
What, man? They trying to latch on to nigga shit, man. They do some real tethers. What the fuck they doing that over here for? They
planned this last year because I was getting the meeting updates from the in Cobra meeting because I always do my stealth investigations, and they have been planning a globalized gathering. And they've been doing this. They've been doing this for a while. And the problem is, this is why I keep saying, we're out organized. They're actually pulling people from the community, and they're having Zoom meetings and calls. And this started when the California Task Force fully took off. And this is when Narcan and Cobra was trying to get them to step down and let them take over. And they were like, no. So now here we are. They had that meeting in D.C. at Howard University. I went to that with Roland Martin and all these other people that were there. And we confronted Ron Daniels and the other guy. And again, they don't have plans to include Black Americans. That's never been their plan because they want a globalized access to money to be able to move, but we are not going to be involved because our position on economics as it stands of where we are here does not include the globalized discussion at the moment. They want to globalize a movement like immediately. That means even with reparations, that's why they keep saying they want reparations to be open-ended. They keep making the claim you can't locate your family members. It's hard to find anybody. We need to make sure that everybody who's Black in America gets reparations. And that is probably what they're going to be discussing because it's the same talking point that Ron Daniels and Cam Howard was telling us when we were confronting him. And I said to both of them, I said, but aren't y'all Black Americans? Don't you guys have a lineage here? So why would you want to actually try to invoke a discussion, a globalized discussion, when we are not united and economically standing strong here? But you want to find a way to get Caribbeans and different countries in Africa and things like that to create some sort of globalized discussion where we wouldn't have an economic standing. I would rather go in a room with Robert Smith, Ryan, what's his name, Byron Allen, Mr. Johnson, and people who are from this soil and develop a huge leg of representation to actually compete with other world countries, not sit there and try to unite with countries that literally can come in here and buy up land. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, let me ask this, right? Who is this big plan? Who they asking for the reparations from? Like, what's the plan on that?
They have what is it called? Well, see, what's those people called out there? Shit, out of my brain. Oh my God, why can't I think? It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh my God, they were vocal at one point. Shit, it's gonna come to me. But there's a group that they already have established that is looking for reparations from, I think, Europe and the United States, but mainly they're trying to focus right now first with Europe and some of the African countries.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what type of, who, like, what are they asking for this repair for? What are they saying that they?
The Pan-Africanists?
Whatever this conference is about, like.
I don't know. That part I don't know. I don't know.
They coming to America to demand reparations from who or what? Like, what?
I think the conference is more than that. I think it's more than the reparations discussion. That's why we need to be there, be in the building.
What more can it be? Like,
Yeah, just based off of what they say, it's supposed to be about Black economic empowerment, gentrification, police reform, reparations, and others. So whatever other stuff they got included, I guess, or whatever. But they're talking about economic empowerment. What's that?
You reform the police in your country. How you coming to America talking about reform the police? Like, that just seems fishy.
And you know why they doing that, Bobo? Cause see, we've been listening in Newstoter spaces here for a while now, as we have talked about police reform and defund the police or whatever. If you notice, some of the stories that have come out in public when it comes to the police have been these people that come from other places where they have been killed by the police, right? Because they come over here and they gaslight us Black Americans, but see, they don't understand. When you come over here, you're going to be treated as a Black American too. Now, you might be from another nation, and these racist customs, they see you as Black Americans just like us.
So, my thing is this. They come here to demand police reform, but they people in this country? Or like, what's...
No, I think they're talking about economics here, because remember, you have African groups like down in Texas that have formed organizations. This is why I said that earlier. There's a Nigerian group down in Texas that's supposed to be specifically for the Black American or the African American, but it's Nigerian led, and they strictly focus on Nigerians coming into the country. And I think we talked about this a year ago, where they're trying to create an economic doorway for other melanated people coming from different countries to come into the United States to position themselves to get money and cipher that money to build economics. Now, whether that includes the Black American, I doubt it, because we don't have any voice or representation. Because everybody that's going to be at that conference is a Pan-African.
Well, now we do have voice, and we do have the voice and everything. It's just that our people choose to go ahead and do other things with their voice instead of, trying to help their people. They pretty much have an olive branch to everybody else. So we have organizations, we have people.
No, I mean at the conference.
No, okay, well, yeah.
At this conference.
But even at the conference, you still got some people there that's Black Americans, but they choose to go ahead and do everything for everybody else. So yeah, we have our people there, but they just choose not to do for their own people.
Right, but that's the problem.
That's the problem. We got Black Americans that's supposed to be caping for their own people.
Right.
Caping for other groups. We got to stop this shit, y'all.
Right.
We got to stop Black Americans from caping for other groups. We can't do it.
I don't have an issue if you're a Black American and you want to do something and you want to partner with other people. That's fine to me, as long as it's going to be beneficial to your people as well too. So you create your organization, you focus on trying to help your people, and then if you come across a like-minded group that's trying to do things for their people, then you say, hey, if they want to work with us and we can do this or do that for ourselves, and it's going to benefit them and it's going to benefit us, and fine, we're about that. But if it's not going to benefit you as well, then you got to kind of just leave it alone. If it's only going to benefit the other people, then it's not worth it.
The problem has been in this country, dude, is that we have cake for everybody, and it has gotten us nowhere. See, that's why we have to stop doing it, man. Black Americans need to be capable for Black American issues.
Let me say this though, but I'm still not really sure, what they agenda, what they saying, what they.
You have to
why you coming to America? If you really want to build something for Black, you should be inviting us back to the blackest place on earth and have it there.
Yeah, but remember, they keep saying. Because Vogel, they keep saying that the resources are here, and this is the part that I really think that we're not grasping.
No, but hold on, wait. Okay, so what I'm saying is this, right? Okay, they could be saying that, but now, then in 2023, we got all the information. We know that the resources ain't here. We know where the resources at. They know too, because they've been living on top of the resources for thousands of years, so they know what's over there. So
no, the resources,
something like that.
Hear me out. The resources, as far as getting government money in regards to the foreign money that is sent over by the United States that's divvied out outside of the country, is at such a large number that the resources are here because our United States government hands out money by the billions to different countries. So if you can come here and get set up, and you can come here and get you a organization that will go ahead and help foreign aid and find out ways to pull and push money outside of the country, which you can actually go and look that up because that was one of the biggest things I think in Chris's space that we did talk about, and there was an article that discussed how much foreign aid is actually coming out of the United States to the rest of the world. Of course, different countries in Africa is going to start coming here. I mean, look at what all it took for Kamala to meet with the Ghana. Was it Ghana or Tanzania? Which country?
I think it was Ghana. I think it was Ghana.
Now, prior to them saying, "Oh well, you need to do something about your hate for the LGBT issue, right? Culture wise, they were ready to welcome the United States because they want money to come into the country for whatever they're going to do with it. And the United States is going to pay. You just had Kamala get herself on the TV and tell South America, I want to invest however many billions to keep the people down in South America to stop coming here because why? An election is coming up. People are
Hold on, wait, because you like to go anywhere.
I'm painting a picture.
No, yeah, sis, but hey,
I'm telling you a picture.
My whole point is foreign aid coming from the United States is greater than you saying that there's more resources in Africa because they will take this money.
That's not true. It's just paper. If they really trying to build something Black, you don't hold the shit in America. That's what I'm saying. You don't hold it in America. Why hold it in America? That's all I'm saying.
But the only thing on that tip there, Volvo, is that since a lot of times they don't have the technology to develop some of these resources they're taking money from foreign countries like America, China, and stuff like that, so they can go ahead and.
Hold on, wait. No, let me say this right. You can hold a conference anywhere. Me, you can hold a conference in my backyard. All I gotta do is bring out some chairs and shit. They got hotels over there. They got planes. They got airports that we can land at. They got that. Everybody got a smartphone. They run around the jungle with smartphones. So come on, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that shit fishy. You don't hold nothing like that in America. Why? They trying to latch on to what we doing, bro.
Yeah, I agree with you saying on that point. They know that Black people, Black Americans are part in America, and they know the mass media that Black people and how influential Black people are. So, why not use Black people's voice as well to go ahead and, like Rella saying as well too, they're trying to do things over here also. So, you know, we can go ahead with the whole thing that we're gonna unite and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. But with anything else, hey, if we can use the marketability, how marketable Black people are, we can go ahead, Black Americans are, we can go ahead and we can, you know, push whatever forward we need to go ahead and push forward. So
Exactly.
and a lot of Black people in this country, they go ahead and they look at it too, like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna be part of this big group and we're gonna be accepted and we're gonna be this and that or whatever. Still not using their heads like, hey, we got to get something tangible. Like I was saying earlier, it's gotta be something that, you know, it's nothing wrong with trade. It's nothing wrong with partnership as well, as long as you're actually benefiting from it. If you're not benefiting from it, if these people, like I say, at this actual this Black World Conference, how many businesses and industries, Black businesses and industries are actually there attending? You know, you're supposed to have it. They supposed to with Ghana online and stuff like that. You're supposed to have like things already set up that, hey, okay, we got the Ghana president here, we got Jamaica, we got the Barbados, we got all this and that or whatever. This is what we're gonna do in terms. Come Monday, we're gonna have to sign this agreement. We're gonna get ready to come down there. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna start exporting, importing, and everything else. We're gonna start building a factory. We're gonna start, you know, we're gonna create some kind of logistics and everything else.
They not coming for that. They coming for what they coming for. I believe that they being sent.
Well, it's the Black. If the Black people don't have enough sense, if the Black Americans don't have enough sense, and even the people like, you know, outside of the people that's actually in attendance, you got to start asking these people. Like, we got to start having a bigger push. People like, look, what's really going on here? What are y'all doing? Like, yeah, is this all like? Is this just some kind of dog and pony show right here? What's really gonna come from this?
Right, yeah, but that's the thing. They ain't looking. They ain't gonna let nobody in the room that's asking that type of question.
But we ain't even got to be in the room. We ain't even got to be in the room. After this conference right here, we can sit up and say, okay, you can start having the media asking, okay, what took place, what happened, what agreement, what trade agreements do we have, what partnership, what business ties, what happened from all of this? Was this just a bunch of talk? Let us know exactly what did Black Americans gain from this interaction that we just had over here in American soil. What happened? Because we had more Black representatives from this country right here that was in this actual meeting. So exactly what happened? And if they can't answer you that, then people, that's when they say, well, this was just all for nothing and this was all for show. If you got to call them on it. If you don't call them on it, they're going to keep using Black people as a scapegoat. And they're not only using...
And go to their spaces, because that Ron, that organization, the IBW, that's Ron Daniels, that's NARC, that's in Cobra. And they have their meetings. And again, you need to know what the enemy or the people who feel like they're doing this for your best interest in there, and you don't know if they're doing it because you're not in the room. And I want to say that also, we have to, again, even if we are not invited, we create our own, because you know what's going to happen? Our voices carry weight because of how we talk, how we speak, our outlook on the things that are happening to us here in the country. No one can speak better about us than us. So if we don't create a stronghold to fight against people who don't want to represent us, we'll never have representation on a global scale. And that's that.
Well, I'm gonna close this. I'm about to watch this video. But just especially because if you're really serious about something like this, you're talking about breaking the system. That's really what you're talking about. You're talking about not participating in the system. You're talking about bringing Black people together. The system want to keep Black people on the bottom. Period. So if you're talking about something like this, you don't hold something like this in America. You just don't do it. It ain't no. That's not real. That's not nothing that's real. It would make more sense if Black people got this big global voice. These people got whole countries, these prime ministers and all that. If you want your voice to be heard, you could say, hey, bring that Black business over here. We got this set up and that set up. We got a bunch of shit we got a bunch of space that we ain't even doing nothing with. Bring that over here, Black Americans, where you won't be mistreated, where you won't be this, where you won't be that, you know? Like that, that's when I know you serious. You know, when you trying to say something, you coming over here talking, holding a conference, that ain't nothing. But I appreciate you letting me speak, brother.
No problem. And I get what you're saying too, Vovo, but I don't really have an issue with them having it over here. My issue is that, like I said, and people, and I don't know who said it before, like you don't have the Byron Allens, you don't have some of your
Robert
big
Smith.
Robert
That's
Smith.
the 5 top billionaires is Robert Smith.
Yeah, and not and not
Actually,
only,
not even Bob Johnson. It's that tech guy. What's the black tech guy?
but not, and it doesn't have to be just billionaires either. You don't have. Yeah, you don't have any millionaires. You don't have any people that have actually construction companies. You don't have anything like any.
Not even that though, brother. Even where your teachers at? Who gonna teach the children? You talking about coming together globally? Like,
One second, Bobo. DJ was saying something. Go ahead, DJ.
The person y'all talking about is Robert Smith, the person that got the most money as far as Black people in America.
Yeah, I know he's got the most, but I'm saying you don't have anybody.
Robert Smith was the guy that paid for black Americans student loans, right, DJ?
Yeah.
Not enough money to save the world. You know what I mean? If you want to do something like this, you got to be talking about changing the culture. Period.
But I'm saying, Volvo, you can only take one step at a time. Like, yeah, we know that you don't have enough money to save the entire world, but we have enough millionaires and billionaires and things of that nature over here that they could go to Ghana and they can go ahead and they can get a lot of things really rolling over there if actually given a chance, of actually giving government contracts to come over there and compete and do stuff. So that's just my thing right there. No, we're not saying that 4 or 5 people are going to change something, but we're saying that they could make a big difference. You got people that, you got construction engineers, you got contractors, you got plumbers, you got people that can go and build infrastructure right here in Black America, and go over there and really start to do stuff. You got all kind of people that can do things. So you have to go ahead and give them a chance, but I don't really see that happening. I don't see, and you need to have some big time people in there that can really fund a lot of things. Who, like you said, the billionaires on top of the millionaires, on top of the actual, middle class people that own actual businesses as well too. So you can have a hierarchy, and you can have this thing go all the way from the billionaires, the millionaires, to the 100,000aires and everything else. You can start getting the regular Joe Smo that's having a hard time working over there, that may be skilled, that can go over there and actually find some work and do something. And maybe they go to Africa for 6-7 months out the year and do some work and help build and everything else. They need help with their sewer system. They need help with their roads. They need help putting down, bringing in for cable and stuff like that, for the internet and everything else. They need a lot of help over there that you can go ahead and you can get experts over here in this field and do it.
But brother, that's the thing though. They don't need help with. They already got China for that. They know if they want a road built, they can go.
But then if you got China for it, then you don't need. If you got China for it, you don't need to come over here talking about.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. You got it.
So, and not only that, but you don't have China, because all China's coming over there to colonize you. Black Americans not coming over there to colonize you. China's coming over there to colonize you.
But I don't want to get into all that. But my thing is this: they know if they need a road built, that they can call China and get whatever they need built.
Why would you call China Volvo when China's going to end up owning the actual road and everything? You got Chinese right now marrying into some of these tribes and stuff over there, deliberately getting their women over there, men going over there, marrying, having kids from these Africans, so they can go ahead later on down the road and make it easier for them to go ahead and slip into it. Now, this game has been played before. When people came over there with Bibles and stuff like that and started going ahead and taking land and everything else like that, telling you that you curse and this and that, and you got to do this, you got to do that. How many times does this game have to be played before you finally get the hang of it? Like, hey, people are playing for all the marbles here. China is trying to get the goddamn Silk Road right through Africa so they can go ahead and take over and push the United States out of that number one spot so they can rule. That's what they're looking at Africa for. Their population is still growing. They're running out of space over there. So let's go ahead and ship some of our people over there where they got all of this land, and they can go ahead and they can take control over it. You got damn Chinese stations all across the country, all across the world, police stations being propped up all over in these countries and stuff. Like, why you already got Kenya, I think one of those countries done gave up a damn airport. Now China, you falling alone, they end up owning your property.
They found 6 more Chinese police stations in America, bro.
And these dumbasses, remember we did that space like 6 months ago, and they had a CBS Evening News. They was acting like it was a surprise about, well, what did the Chinese police station come from? I'm like, man, you know damn well this Chinese station been up in New York for months now, and it's in like 30, 40 different countries. Stop playing stupid here.
Black Americans too much.
That's exactly what it is. But Newstoter, this is the reason why I keep saying, and I'm gonna repeat what I said again. If I'm going to have a discussion about economics building, I'm gonna start with my top 5 families that I can go ahead and get into position to start to compete. And like you said, then you go down the line. You create a avenue and a platform so we can start bringing in our heavy hitters along with other communities that are trying to build from the 1,000 years and 100 years to actually now get on one accord when it comes to competing on a world stage. And we have a voice because we know these are American families that have wealth or developing wealth. Now we start to develop our legs. That actually would help our Black majority state movement because now we start to build our own infrastructure. We don't have that in this conference happening. If you ask me, the people in this conference that I just looked over, is coming over to develop and talk about with Pan-Africanists who have the view of we need to migrate back to a land you ain't never been to because your skin is melanated. And then they want to figure out how can I get into a position if they do receive reparations, how do we get in position to cipher off some of that money? Oh, and yes, by the way, we also want to get that set aside money that the government gives out to foreign aid. How do you do that? You set up contracts. You get with organizations in the United States that will actually send money over to another country. Like I really think
hold on, real quick. Let Vovo go ahead. Vovo, what you saying?
What I'm saying is this: if you're serious about doing something like that, you're not even thinking about the money. That's secondary. If you're serious about really unifying, you're not thinking about no overseas money, send money overseas or none of that. You thinking about getting these motherfuckers out your way, breaking the system. That's what you're thinking about. The money, if you're really serious, what I'm saying is that somebody sent them. This bogus, this whole shit bogus. They ain't serious. Somebody sent them. If they ain't, this ain't about no economic. I also want to speak on not to get on the China thing. China not wrong for what they doing over there. They not wrong. China ain't using no gun. China ain't doing what the white man did. They ain't enslaved not one person. China ain't fired a shot. China ain't fighting no wars or throwing motherfuckers on ships or doing none of that. Africa got shit under the ground.
So
Vovo, I'm not saying. Hold on. Let him finish. Go ahead real quick, because then I want to say something. Go ahead, Vovo.
They got shit under the ground that the world needs, that the world ain't gonna be able to run without. The Africans don't know what to do with it.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree. I'm gonna have to disagree with on that part right there, Vovo, because you got Africans over there in that country that have skills and stuff that can go ahead and get that stuff from underneath the ground. To the problem with them is that they have shit presidents and shit governments. So they have they don't have anybody really in terms of the government that's really got their back. And I don't understand what you say. Hold on, Vovo, because I ain't interrupt you.
The government.
Okay, now you're being rude now. So the problem here is that, hey, no, of course China's not wrong. China's supposed to look after their own interests. China's going ahead and China's going to give them pennies on the dollars. Unfortunately, they're going to go ahead and accept it. My thing is this right here is that I would think that the Africans will want to keep as much of their land as possible. If you go ahead and you bring Black Americans over there, then you're talking about actually a partnership. The Chinese, like I said, their main focus is to go ahead and colonize and take as much of that land as possible. So you can put your thumb down, but I don't know. Please tell me when the Chinese been in love with Black people, because maybe we all missed that history lesson. Chinese are coming over there. Hold on, Vovo. The Chinese are coming over there to get as much as they can. They ain't got to come with a gun or nothing. They coming over there and they selling whatever they can. The Africans are going ahead buying it up. we can't stop it. So if the Africans want to go ahead and do business with the Chinese, more power to them. But they'll have a new colonizer, just like they had the Arabs, just like they had the whites. Now it's time for the Chinamen to go ahead and be their colonizer. So if that's what they want, by all means, power to them. We not over here. We're not going to stop you. We're not going to gripe. We're not going to cry. We simply saying, you coming over here telling us how about, hey, you want to do economic empowerment. You want to do globalization with Black Americans and this and that and the diaspora. You want to do this. You want to do that. If you don't want to do it, fine. Don't do it. Stay over there with the Chinese. Stay over there with the Arabs. Stay over there with Western Europe. You, to this day, you still got West Africa, those colonies, those former colonies of France, still pretty much feeding the French right now to this day. If it wasn't for them, the French ass to be over there starving. So, and you still, and your damn currency is the francocon or whatever the hell it is. So you still, after colonization, you still got to use the French currency. So please, because they got you under, you still under neo-colonial rule. They still putting puppets in place, and you still going for it. So if they want to go ahead and go for it, more power to them. All I'm saying, you sitting over here selling wolf tickets about, hey, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to work with you, this and that. Hey, we giving you an option and an out to how to go ahead and do that. Now, if you're serious about it, you'll take it up. But if you BSing and you don't really want to do that, then you'll go ahead and do what you've been doing and been under damn colonization for the past 500-600 years. It makes no difference to us. You're the one sitting on all of the resources and whatnot. You're the one with the youngest population in the world. You're the one that's in a damn black continent. You got the damn Arabs in North who for the last 1,000 years who conquered you and ruled you. So if you really want to go ahead and do something, fine. If you don't, go ahead and be their slave. Because like I say, you got damn a little bit of Chinese over there whooping African asses and stuff like that. We seen those clips over there. Oh yeah, I guess I'm making that up. I seen them clips of them Chinese over there beating them Africans up and stuff like that in their own cities, in their own towns, in their own restaurants. That's right. Somebody that's greatly outnumbered. You got the damn South Africans over there greatly outnumbered, yet they still control all the resources over there. You got Zimbabwe over there. They took the land from the white farmers. Then they came back because of the World Bank and everybody else that started pissing off, getting upset because these white folks was being done wrong. Told the Zimbabweans to go ahead and give that land back, and they went ahead and gave that land back. So at the end of the day, all those resources that's on African ground, they still don't control it.
I did hear they got an alert out there in Africa and all the African nations. Since the Chinese have moved over there, a lot of them coming in there, but the cats and the dogs. I want y'all to understand, there's an APB out right now.
Oh man.
Cats and dogs. Let me say that right, brother. Cats and dogs.
Like seriously though, like this shit that China doing is really going over everybody's head. Went over my head too at first. I made a statement earlier. Said that they can't handle the stuff that's under the ground. You said you disagree with that. If they can handle it, they'll be handling.
We have a digging it out, selling it themselves. We go by the Newstoter.
I'm sorry, what was that, really?
Let me speak though, bro. I appreciate you let me speak.
Go ahead and stay up here, Bobo, because I'm gonna let you get back. But I think Wilson, because she hadn't spoken in a minute. Wilson, go ahead and unmute your mic.
What I was going to say is that you were spot on. We have a problem in this country. America has got a problem because a lot of those countries' government is very unstable, and it is unstable due to some part with their leaders who have, for example, taken IMF money meant to help to stabilize their countries. Leaders have taken it for their own, stealing it basically, and of putting it into Swiss banks and offshore banks, and not doing what they're supposed to be doing for the people. You have people that are, you've got African people that are getting their education and are masterfully brilliant, engineers and all kinds of stuff, but there's nothing for them in their country and as opportunity, and also not able to freely build a company because of the violence that goes on in those countries when they go back. It's the same thing in the Caribbean. Jamaica has some of the richest soil in the Caribbean and the South Americas. You've had a brain drain in that island, and people that have left would like to go back, but the violence the violence that are, if you were to read their major newspaper, which is the Gleaner, and you read what happens to people who have gone down there to retire. There's a violence. It's like P.J. Patterson, the former Prime Minister of Jamaica. He's a jive turkey. That man is probably there. He's jive. He's done nothing for that island. He's a jive turkey. He was caught with some. He was messing with some money stuff.
He's the one. He's the one at the World Conference.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what I'm saying. He's jive. A lot of missed opportunities with Barack Obama had the opportunity to do what China has been doing in Africa and the Caribbean. Barack Obama didn't do it. Why China moved in? This is one of the biggest fails in the Obama administration. And what it does is become the problem for countries like America, Canada, because these people are not going back to their country, which is a shame. To help buttress it, they're looking for opportunities here. And what happens is that now Black Americans and American people in general, they're taking our jobs. They're taking those jobs. And it's what's happening in Central and South America. Look, a lot of these countries, like America, the colonizing countries, we did this to ourselves by getting ourselves involved politically in their government, the underhanded things that we have done. We have colonized their countries, we've raped them of all their resources, and now we're paying for it. And so now here you go with China now. And it is, I'm telling you, a part of this is the unsettling governments of these countries. And these people do not go back, or they flee. And like I think I explained to you guys the other day, Africa, the bordering countries to Africa is Italy, France, Albania, Spain, Portugal. They're catching hell with people fleeing Africa to go up there. It's unsettling governments, and some of them are poor leaders. And you have the militia. It's a combination of a lot of things, and this goes back to when Barack Obama was instrumental in assassinating what's his name? Give me his name again.
Gaddafi.
Gaddafi. Gaddafi was the one, I believe, that could have helped stabilize a lot of those countries, so that collectively, because he drew so much respect from a lot of those leaders and people of those countries, he could have helped stabilize those countries and become a true leader, global leader, without the help of China. But Barack Obama gave China the best gift he could ever give him. He has helped to assassinate him, and then he did not go in as the big brother. America is the big brother, and help with the infrastructure in the Caribbean, and Africa, and China moved right on in. And that's my take on where we're at with that.
Real quick, Wilson. I'm gonna let you get Volvo, but I know everybody says a Gaddafi thing, and I know Gaddafi was an African by being born on the continent, but I'm gonna be honest, and this is just my personal opinion. Yeah, Barack Obama and them, they put a hit on him, and they were wrong for targeting the man, killing him. But I don't believe any non-black person, and Gaddafi all he was going to do was Arabanize, or whatever you want to call it, the entire continent. Gaddafi's thing was making Arabs rule Africa. That's what he would have been about. I don't trust the Arabs. Already showed when they first got there that they can't be trusted. The whites can't be trusted, and the Chinese can't be trusted either. If that continent is ever going to reclaim any of its past glory, it's going to have to be with black men that's not paid and bought for, that's not in the hip pocket of Europeans or Arabs, or that they haven't been mystified by religion, and that they don't look at religion and look at being an Arab over being black or whatever. If they truly ever going to rise again as a people, they're going to have to do it on themselves. They got to leave the Arabs alone. They got to leave the whites alone. And they got to leave the Chinese alone. Use these people as a way to further your agenda. Let these people help you get on your feet, And after that, kick these people to the goddamn curb. They can't be trusted. Every time you come in contact with these people, from the time you had Egypt over there, you see they're all bitching and crying about a damn documentary about Egypt. You got the Egyptians over there, and that's what they are, Egyptians sitting up here crying about Cleopatra. Like, who gives a damn? Cleopatra, even if she was white or whatever, you're talking about a goddamn historically black country that the Greeks came in there and whored out. So you can't trust these people. Gaddafi wasn't going to do anything except use it the same way that you got all of these Arabs in North Africa right now that came in there as you start having droughts coming through in time and taking over as black people start moving, sitting up here talking about they've been there since the beginning of time, knowing damn well you're a mixed race. That's impossible. You haven't been there since the beginning of time. You are the children of blacks and white. But sitting up here, no, you can't trust these people. I didn't trust Gaddafi. Gaddafi, all he was going to do was have Arabs ruling over black people the same way you got Arabs still on that continent selling black people as slaves over there in Saudi Arabia and some of these other Arab countries. You cannot trust these people. I don't trust them. If these black people had any mind, they sitting over here and they putting Islam over being black and everything else. That's the issue right there. That's the problem right there. And they still in the hip pocket of the Europeans. They still in the neo-colonized until they get up off of their ass and stop sitting there and taking everybody else's word and do something for themselves. They are going to continue to suffer. You cannot depend on the Arabs. You cannot depend on the Europeans. You cannot depend on the Chinamen. Point blank. Go ahead and depend on them, and you're going to be their goddamn slave for the rest of your life.
Let me say this, right?
Can I talk, please?
She had her hands up, so let Rilla go, okay?
And I'm gonna say this. It's called destabilization, and they've been practicing it for years. And that's why you have apartheid that was so great, because you had people who came in and they destabilized the lower part of Southern Africa. And next thing you know, white people claim it, talking about some, well, we Africans too now. You Africans too because of colonization. So the Asians is doing the same damn thing. The Arabs, who literally have pretty much, you want to know where all the world's money is? And the reason why they don't have to lift a finger and they can have women on Instagram come over there and say, come eat my shit, is because they have so much money that they don't have to get into the streets and walk down the streets and ask for anybody to do anything. They can walk around. And we don't even know if they're really Arabs. Some people look white. They look like they're white from somewhere. Nobody really knows where. But you're not going to convince me that just because Asians don't have a gun to somebody's head, that they don't practice destabilizations. They use the air, they use technology, they use agriculture, they even use the bugs to destabilize countries. Why you think in America we got a little black girl who's trying to kill lanternflies on a fucking tree being accosted by some old raggedy ass white man? Because where these bugs come from? These species of bugs come from. They come from immigrants who come into a country and they bring these animals in to destabilize. They know what they are doing. So you can't tell me that these people are not trying to fight against the decolonization, but at the same time, all these people are looking for is their next bottom cast. All I'm saying is, if we don't get our shit together over here and get some legs underneath our fucking body, we are going to be in trouble. We can't just pick and choose little things here and there and be like, well, because I don't know this and I don't know that, then it can't be true. It's not true because you don't know it, or it's not true because you didn't say it. No, it's true because it's written. It's true because I read it. It's true because I can see with 3 eyes. 2 eyes in my third eye. Secondly, it's already been vocalized. The fact that these people are looking for another class of folks. Instead, what is happening is they're inviting all these countries in. They don't have any stabilization at all. But what the United States wants to do, excuse me, You gotta go and you gotta work on your LGBTQ problem. Not the fact that you gotta work on stop eating people. Not you gotta stop killing young and genociding motherfuckers out of existence because there won't be any more Africans left. They want you to focus on the LGBT shit. Like that was the first thing Kamala went over there to say to the people. As if we don't see all these damn videos all up and through down Twitter. All I'm saying is it's the nuances and the things that are happening when it comes to destabilization. It is not one thing. It's multitude of things. And I'll land.
All right, Volvo, you got it. Go ahead, Volvo, and then I'm gonna get to Black Volvo and Black Native. I'm sorry. Black Native and Black Pressure. I'm not sure which one of y'all was. We'll figure it out. But go ahead, Volvo.
Yeah, let me say this right. Because there was so much said, I'm just gonna stick on my one point. What you looking at, right? It's going over everybody's head. The Chinese, they want white people's spot. That's what it is. They want to be number one. What makes white people number one? Their money. So what China trying to do is take everybody off the dollar, take everybody off their money. They can't succeed at it because they got a different style. The white man went over there with bullets and Bibles. They going over there passing out loans, building shit. They building shit for these people. They built a super freeway through Jamaica. You can look that up for yourself. So which one would you take? Just regular common sense. This could be a white man coming over here talking about white Jesus and bullets and all that shit, and then when he leave, we still poor. Or China coming over here building freeways, building hospitals, building hotels. When y'all talk about those videos of the Chinese people, we see hitting motherfuckers with whips and all that shit. Yeah, that shit hard to watch. But the Chinese government ain't sanctioning that. They not sending them to do that. Those are businessmen doing that. Them workers over there doing that. That's over there building shit. And that's just how they treat them. Because like I said earlier, they can't handle the shit that they've been walking over top of. They don't know what to do with that shit. They don't know how to use that to build their nation up. So somebody else got to come in and do it. And if you don't build it yourself, somebody else gonna take advantage of you. Period. So they really getting a sweeter deal than they ever got before in life. When the Chinese people come over there, look at what the Arabs did to them. The Arabs put them in slavery and all that shit. The white man put them in slavery. China ain't putting nobody in slavery. They really not doing them bad though. It was going over my head too at first. It was going over my head too. Now I see what China trying to do. They're trying to get everybody on their code and off this white supremacist bullshit. I land my plane, brother.
Okay, that's what you say, bro. I'm not gonna argue with you. You're right. The Asians enslaved them, and then you had the whites come and enslave them, and once you had once you had what?
Yes, they did. Yes, it was called the Silk Road slave trade. They did it before the white man did. You can't say that stuff out loud because this is on record.
No. It wasn't a common practice between the Arabs and
it was slave trade. It was 3 slaves. So stop saying that they didn't do that.
They did. If that was the case, they would still have them enslaved.
So the white man still got the black man enslaved?
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, next.
Okay. Let me real quick, y'all. Real quick, we gonna move it around a little bit. So don't worry, y'all. We're gonna move it around a little bit. So real quick, man, we have not had anybody subscribe to the YouTube channel tonight. That is the 5th one in the actual Jumbotron, y'all. We are stuck on 0 no subscriptions tonight. We got probably 80 some people in the space tonight. So we have not had anybody subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you go up in the Jumbotron, it is the one in the actual middle. the 5th one in the middle. So go ahead. We got 91 people in the space, not one subscription tonight. I know everybody in the space has not subscribed to the YouTube channel. If everybody in here would subscribe to the YouTube channel, that would be cool. But we got people that have not subscribed to it, so please go ahead. Also in the Jumbotron, we got the newsletter. You get a chance, go ahead and subscribe to that newsletter as well, too. Also, if you can, support us on Cash App, y'all. We need anybody that has a dollar that they want to donate to the nice conversation. Please go ahead and think about donating it. It only has to be $1. It doesn't have to be more than that. If you got $1 that you want to donate or can donate, let me say can donate, please think about donating on Cash App to Newstoter. $sign Newstoter, $sign Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Y'all see the Twitter spaces we put out, but the Twitter spaces is only a little part of what the actual platform is. Make sure you visit newstoter.com daily to stay up to date on Black news, lifestyle, culture, education, entertainment. Please make sure you visit newstoter.com daily, guys. Make sure y'all visit it just one time a day, at least spend maybe a minute on there and then leave and go back to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Go back to the WPIs that you want to, but at least spend 1 minute on a Black-owned platform that supports Black-owned businesses. Okay, we curate Black news. We curate it for free as well, too. So when you support Newstoter, you're supporting dozens of other Black-owned businesses. So once again, that is $sign Newstoter, $sign Newstoter. If you do not have a Cash App, the PayPal and Venmo is up in the Jumbotron as well, too. So, let me go ahead and get to Black Pressure, Black Native. I'm not sure which one of you guys was first. I believe it was Black Native, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Yeah, go ahead, cook Black Native.
Okay. What's up, Black Native?
Thank you, fella. Hey, Newstoter. Thank you for allowing me to speak. What's up, DJ, Mr. Professor, Miss No Taxation, and everybody else in the space. I just wanted to just agree with Black Pressure as far as the Asians did have Black people in slavery. It was called the Silk Road slave trade. I actually tweeted it. I believe it was like last year sometime. And they also had them building up the Great Wall of China. It's just a little known history fact for you, Volvo Rand.
Hold on. But you said you had to disagree.
You say Black Pressure. You want to disagree with Black Pressure, though.
I agree with you, Black Pressure, because I tweeted it out last year about the Silk Road slave trade. And they also had them help build the Great Wall of China. Those were slaves that did that. I put the article up last year sometime on one of my tweets. I just want to know with this Black. I think she meant Volvo. Sorry, Black Native. Hey, sis. Hey, no, I was agreeing with Black Pressure, but yeah, that was to Volvo, Mr. Volvo in there, always causing chaos. What's up, sis? I just wanted to say, with the Black World Conference, are we going to have the Black media, the grassroots in that conference? Because if you have the same people that sat up with Biden when Biden said, "Oh, we're going to have to work with the Hispanics," because they're dying out, and it was Al Sharpton and all these other Black American, so-called some of them Black American leaders in that conference, and the only way we found out about it because it got leaked. We need to know what's going on in that room. We are part of this Black world. We are the main people, Black people on the planet. So we don't have people in there to come back with, information to provide to us. We're not going to know what went down. So I would suggest that, the grassroots and the new Black media is in that space. We need to be there, hear what's going on in this conference. It's for 3 or 4 days? We can't just not know. We have to be in the know. And that's all I wanted to say about, the Black conference. With Africa, I kind of agree with Volvo. I hate to say it. I don't want to throw up. But I have to agree. They're just the Asians are just coming in there, with better offers. They're building the roads, they're building the bridges. But this is the thing. Who are they hiring to build the bridges? Aren't they hiring Africans to do that? So why can't Africans do that for themselves? What about all the Africans that come to the United States, get their degrees, get their schooling, and go back
and build. The engineers, the doctors, the agriculture, they come here and then they don't want to go back. They come here and get all these degrees and brag to us about how many degrees they got, and they're so much smarter than us. Why don't you take those degrees and those skills that you acquired, excuse me, in the United States and go back and build? Because the only thing China is doing is supplying the money. But Africa is literally sitting on a gold. Africa is literally sitting on a gold mine. Diamonds, rubber, oil, zinc, copper, cocoa. I mean, we could go down the list. And the Asians are not building. They are hiring the Africans to do the building. So this is weird. This is some weird shit. They have to stop relying on other people and be able to be self-sufficient. Everything is under their feet. I don't get it. And it's another place in South Africa. I was watching a documentary. It's the whitest. It's called Orania. This is in South Africa. This was a town that was formed in 1994, 1995. Only white people lived there in South Africa. They have created their own money. They're building up their own homes. There was a black guy that would come there and deliver food, but he couldn't stay. But it was a black couple. One was from America, and the other one was a black South African who went into this town. It's called Orania. It's like something that we want to do here in the United States when we want to just be left alone with black majority in the black majority states. And I was looking at how they were able to do this. They have their own currency. They have their own banks. And they started in 1995, and the town is booming right now. So it can be done. I don't understand how white people are still able to do this and still be able to set themselves up and say, they just didn't want to be around black people, that's other black South Africans, and they started their own shit. I don't get why we're not able to do that here, or we can't do it in, Africa. That's all I wanted to say. I feel like, to me, it's sad, and it's sad to see that they're always being taken advantage of, and they allow it because of their leaders their leaders are still being under European rule. Even though you don't see the white people behind the scenes, they're still controlling it, but through a black face, and that's all it is. And I'll land my plane. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
All right. Thank you, Black Native. Appreciate it.
May I just say something to her real quickly? The problem, you just hit the nail on the head, but the problem is they're not hiring the Africans to do the work. The Chinese are hiring their own, and they're doing it also in the Caribbean. And they are building these hotels and telling black natives of the Caribbean islands, no blacks allowed. They are not hiring educated engineers.
Who are these workers that they're beating with sticks? Who are these workers that they're abusing? And these workers have on black African workers have on construction uniforms, hard hats, and the whole 9 yards. And I'm watching 5'2" motherfuckers beat them upside the head with sticks. Who are those people? They're working for the Asians in Africa. I don't know if all of it is going down, but they are hiring Africans to work for them in Africa. And they also build Asian police stations in Kenya. That's the problem.
With the governments to come in and build, and they're bringing their own people in there. Now, I'm not saying that 100%. You've got maybe the menial workers, but when you mentioned these well-educated Africans, those Chinese could very well hire them, but they are not doing that. They're putting their own in there. And you have some African countries already that their national newspaper is the Chinese language newspapers. In the Caribbean, you know what they've done in the Caribbean? They've leased out all the major tourist ports. And the governments of those countries have allowed it. I read that, listen to this, that Jamaica is importing cannabis from Canada. Jamaica has ganja, but they're importing. Listen, they have sold out their own. These prime ministers have sold out their own people. And to your point, you would think that these well-educated Africans, engineers, scientists, nuclear engineers,
Okay, real quick, because because Black Pressure's been waiting and no taxation are waiting. They haven't had a chance to speak. Go ahead, real quick, Black Native, and then I got to go. I'm gonna let you go ahead and finish, and then I'm gonna get to them.
This is my question. We all see it, and I guess maybe, and I know they understand it too, because Tariq that made a song. It's the government. When are the people? I mean, they're the youngest growing population in the world. When are they going to get rid of these corrupt leaders and take control of their own countries? When is it going to happen? Because you had the Arabs, then you had the Europeans, now you got the Asians. So when are they going to say, you know what, we tired of leaving, we're tired of being disrespected wherever we go. We got to take this into our own hand. And if it has to be a civil war again, let it be a civil war in order for them to control their own countries. That's the only way I can see it. I'll land.
All right. Thank you, Black Native. And you're right. They got the youngest population, and it's not like they're going against the U.S. or China military either. So they got to go ahead and they got to want it for themselves. Black Pressure, go ahead and unmute your mic.
What's up, Black family? What's up, News? Right, DJ, everybody, real.
What's up?
Black Native, everybody. So, all y'all as a collective, y'all took all my talking points. So, I'll just kind of do a summary.
No, you still got that pressure. Go on and give it to us.
No, y'all took it. I mean, everything I wanted to say, y'all said everything. Even like Volvo said that you've had 1 million conferences for 50 years. You've had conferences. You know, and also a great point News made. I just want to say this again. Gaddafi was in error. He gave not a damn about African people. He only claimed Africanness when it was convenient for him. And remember too, he also attacked African countries. That shit was a facade. That that African shit he claimed, that dude was an Arab. He thought like an Arab. He treated black people like Arabs. But should he have been killed? No. That was some sucker shit from the U.S. But like News said, the dude was an Arab. It's outright an error. Also, I'll say this too about what everybody's been saying. All the talking, all the conferences, all the prime ministers in Africa, all the resources in Africa, like Black Native said, all the different Europeans and Asians that's coming to Africa. And once again, I'll touch on what Volvo said. All the conferences we've had them. Just the bottom line, the only way you're going to get out this shit is war. You can't talk to these people. You can't negotiate with these people. Like News said, how many times are we going to play this movie over and over and over and over again and realize it's going to have the same ending? These people don't care anything about you. If you, like Black Native said, if you're going to get out this shit, it's going to have to be war, because you tried everything else, like I say, for the last 50 years. You've tried talking, you tried negotiations, you even tried fleeing. Because we get on the African people for fleeing to America, but if you go back and look at Africa, that white man and that Asian man don't change his colors. You can flee all you want; he's still going to treat you the same way. And I'll land my plane there.
All right, let me give a shout out real quick to we got a few people that went ahead and subscribed to the YouTube channel, so thank you guys. Hopefully we can get a few more subscriptions to that YouTube channel while this space is actually going as well too. It's up in the Jumbotron. It's the 5th one in the middle, so go ahead and please subscribe. We still haven't had anybody to donate tonight, so hopefully before the space is over, we can get a couple of you guys to donate at least $1 on the actual Cash App. $Newstoter, $Newstoter. So we got about 100 people in the space, and we still haven't got not $1 in donation. We're at least trying to get $1 donation tonight, y'all. So whoever has $1 and they can contribute and donate, it is greatly appreciated. Let me go ahead and get to no taxation. How you doing tonight, sister?
I'm doing good. Boy, y'all are on fire up in here. Boy, the intelligent crowd. I love it. Hope everybody is well. Hello to all the people in the room, the Newstoter family. And everybody touched on some really valid points. It's a multi-layered situation. I want to just say something about the Black World Conference for Black Native. There were some people, some reparationists from Baltimore in the room, and I got to report back, but I will say this, that fight is hard. And before Black World Conference, it used to be called the African Conference. and they used to come to DC. And all the African immigrants from various different countries would come over there and try to get money, because that's the name of the game for everybody, right? And Obama played them uh, like a fiddle. They ended up giving Nigeria $50 billion, and you see what kind of state Nigeria is in. And I'm glad that Black Pressure brought up the Silk Road, because that's a very important point. That Silk Road is rebuilt. I hope you all know that. Africa has been divided into three parts. The upper half is for the Saudis, the middle half is for the Chinese, and the bottom half is America's now. The game is done. It's over. Um, and it is going to take a war, but it will be probably a century before they can do anything about it, because the deals are already cut. The United States of America has 210 drone bases in the southernmost region of Africa. We also have, quiet as it's kept, little weapons that look like smaller than flies, look like a gnat, and those are actual drones. Those are over there. They actually sent them out there in Florida first to see if they would work right off the coast of Florida. Where them islands down there, news back in the day where the gays lived down there. They tested them out down there, and then they sent them over to Africa. Uh, the problem with Africa, really, is that the governments, the majority of them, are just as corrupt as ours. And money talks and bullshit walks. And everybody can be bought off. And that's a problem. So are the people in various countries of Africa going to be able to retain their resources? No. Those resources are now owned by everybody else. You see what Akon did when he tried to get electricity for his grandmother. He went over there to the Chinese, the richest Chinaman in the country, and cut a deal with him, and started putting electricity over there. Why couldn't that deal be cut with the United States of America? Because the United States of America don't give a shit. You got to understand, this country that we're in, there has never been a greater war machine in the world. We're the war machine of the world. And everybody's scared of our weapons. And they should be, because we got stuff that we'll never see in my lifetime out there that they use. And it's a drone situation. The drones are heavy over there now. We don't see that over here because we don't have war in our country yet. But it's an interesting conversation. It's going to be interesting to see how it turns out. Dr. Wilson, every time I see Wilson, I think about Dr. Wilson. Yvonne, she said some things, and Black Pressure and Rella said some things, and Black Native said some things, and it is a multi-layered problem. How does that affect us? See, that's what we have to get to. How does that directly affect Black people? Well, I'll tell you how it's affecting Black people. If you go on the East Coast and go into the nursing homes, the majority of those people in the nursing homes are Africans. And guess what? They don't care anything about Black folks. And so don't get old and go into a nursing home that hires Africans, because you will not get good care. And how else does that directly affect us? Well, we have people that are coming to this country and never leaving again. And they're talking about us so bad and doing things to us so bad that they feel like they may be able to outnumber us. What they do is come over here. They think as a collective, like we do, like the rest of the folks do, not us. They come over here, and then they bring their family over here, and the family brings their friends, and so forth and so on. That's the name of the game. That's why something has to be done about immigration, because we can't have that. And they come into our communities because they can blend in. We can't have that. And I will tell you another phenomena that I have discussed with Denise Long, who really should be in on this conversation. If you have a daughter, a niece, know anybody who has a daughter, a niece, a cousin that is between the ages of 18 and 25, female, you better watch them and don't let no applicants come around. Because what they're doing is trying to get these little girls to marry them for a green card. And if they can't get one, they'll try another. Now, you won't hear that in the news, not in 2023. You'll probably hear it in 2025 because it's already happening. So what does that mean for us? That means we have to tell the government, this government, where we live, where we are citizens, that we do not want these people in our communities doing damage to us. And that's just what it is. Let them take their chances with the white folks. See? And that's what we have to do, and that's our fight. The rest of it ain't nothing we can do. What we gonna do? Go over there and tear up the Silk Road, tell the Chinaman to get out, and Wilson told you. Them Africans that they hired, they're doing very menial jobs. Very menial jobs. And the people that are beating on them, Chinamen, they're doing very menial jobs. They build resorts over there that Africans can't even go to in their own country. Almost like Hawaii, what Zuckerberg told the Hawaiians, but the Hawaiians ran his ass out of there and told him these are our beaches and you can't have them. See, the Africans are not doing that over there on the eastern coast. And they got to pull it together, but it's not our job for them to pull it together. We can't do business with people who don't know how to do business in their own country. And I'm going to leave it at that.
All right. Thank you, sister. Let me give a shout out real quick to Black Pressure, Lisa, and Velton for their contribution on Cash App. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you, family. Let me see what we got next. Now we got Lebo and we got Trouble, but I'm not sure who actually came up here first. I want to go ahead and get to these new speakers, and we'll get to you, Volvo. DJ, also, I know you want to say something because it's been a minute. You hadn't really said nothing much tonight, so we got to definitely go ahead and.
Trouble before Lebo
No, Lebo was first.
Okay.
I go last, y'all. I'll let y'all go. I go last.
Okay. Well, let the sister, let Trouble get it in. Go ahead, Trouble. How you doing tonight?
Yeah, go ahead, cause Trouble.
I'm not coming to cause trouble. Y'all done said some good stuff up in here. I've been in and out, but what I did hear, y'all was spitting that hot fire up in here. I sure hate to see that white hand constantly pointing his thumbs down, but it is what it is, contrary.
Well, you know, Trouble, he gotta represent that thing that's with him.
Okay, KK. And KKK it is, honey. But anyhow, yeah, y'all been spitting that hot fire. I just came up here because Miss Taxation had mentioned what's that clown's name? Akon. And so I was looking at a post that he had earlier, which is nothing that he hasn't already said before, where he's still trying to get Black people to come to Africa. And I was just sitting back looking at it like, you know, why come you don't tell your people to do what you did? You came to America, you grifted off of our dollars, you got your money, and you took it back to Africa and started doing the damn thing with it. Congratulations to you. So rather than constantly telling Black people to come back to Africa and make Africa stronger, why don't you tell your people who came here, got these degrees, like Black Native was saying, got all of this good stuff going, and take all of that back? And I understand, I heard the sister say, well, they don't have opportunities. Well, create the opportunity. You have the ability to create it instead of telling us how we're done and how you're better. Take all of that smartness that you got with your smart ass. Take your smart ass on back and create those opportunities over there for your people. But don't keep telling us over here that we need to uproot ourselves. My family is here. My foundation is here. My life is here. What do I look like being a traitor to my people by getting a bag and going to another country with that bag when my people still here on this land fighting? I look like some kind of goddamn fool. I look like a traitor to my people, and that's how I look at them. You all are traitors to your own damn people because you left them over there doing bad when you know you could have been there helping them. I'd never leave my people over here. I'm a fight to the goddamn blood. I wouldn't care if I had my reparations or millions of dollars sitting in my bank account. I'm not getting ready to leave those of us over here still fighting the system of white supremacy. I have to take the bag with the goddamn good. So stop telling us to relocate our damn selves. It's a grip. And I don't want to be divisive. I don't mean to sound divisive, but But Africans are always on the goddamn grip, and that's why their leaders are like they are, because their leaders come from the people of the goddamn land with their damn grip. They grip each other, they shun each other, they vex each other, and then they get in office and do it to the rest of them, do it to the whole damn nation. And that's why Africa can't get off of their goddamn grip, because look at the nature of the people. You know, so I just wanted to bring that point up and just get that off my little damn chest, because he was irritating my soul, and I feel like somebody else would hear me complain about it. Love y'all.
All right. Thank you, Trevor.
Love you, Dan.
Let me go ahead. Let me get to Lebo. Lebo, go ahead and unmute your mic. You there, Lebo?
Oh, my bad. I was gonna, but hey, look, I'm gonna play like kind of devil advocate, probably contradiction a little bit, but I'm gonna go off when you was like when basically like you know how when we get knowledge and we get position and we get power, we really don't pass it down. Ain't no apprenticeship, kind of like we hold in position to basically we got. We don't pass it down, and then as far as like. I ain't gonna say religion, but as far as like spirituality, once we get that type of information and knowledge, we like kind of corrupt it. But it's like the same thing they do basically. Once they got they use it against us, and it's kind of majority of the people. Once we get that knowledge and once we get that power, as far as like not religion but spirituality, it's kind of corrupted and. We use it against each other. We don't even 9 times out of 10 use it for the better. But with the far as like the Africans, I have saw them treat us kind of wrong. Like I saw like you the same like I saw that in jail in certain places like when they more populated. Like I'm from Chicago, like up north they more populated up north. And then like like far on the east side they a little populated, but it's like a lot of. Like I say, Caribbean, like Jamaicans, Haitians, Belizeans, and over that way, they used to get robbed a lot. And I think they used to just tell like people like, man, don't like America, don't trust them. I think like that because if I came here and they saying this a free country and then we just get robbed like taxi drivers and all that type of stuff like that, or whatever the odd jobs they have, people saw they weren't from here, they take their stuff. But I just think like that, like they probably just telling their people, don't trust America, they gonna take the stuff and just keep your guard up. And we already, how we is, we fight each other. We see somebody that ain't from here and they you know what I'm saying, we gonna attack. That's what we've been doing to each other. But I'm gonna land on that though. I don't know why we like that, but that's what I saw coming up with the Africans. I saw the bad trick and I saw the good trick bad too.
All right, thank you, Lebo. Let me go ahead and get to DJ. You want to say something real quick because you hadn't said nothing. You want to go ahead before we get to Volvo?
Check the DM, bro. Go ahead, though.
All right, you got it, Volvo.
Man, nobody keep on asking this bad, man. That's just that tether nonsense. Anyway, the dude mentioned the Silk Road. Said I don't know what I'm talking about. There was slave trading on the Silk Road, but that wasn't what it was for. It was just for simple trade. Brother, let me go. Just let me go. I'm quiet.
Bro, give it up, bro. Give it up, man.
But this the thing, right? I'm wrong all the time. You can look this up for yourself.
I did 25 years ago. I trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I promise you.
All right. Well, let me just speak my piece. Maybe I ain't saying that. Like, can I speak my piece? Like, it wasn't specifically for slave trading, like the transatlantic slave trade. There was slave trading on the Silk Road. And it's stuff that anybody can look up. We all got smartphones. Let's use to be smart. So if it was specifically for that, where is the people now today? Where is this black nation of people? If it was specifically to trade black people, we would see black nations that's in Asia that would be descendants of slaves. How we see.
So you saying they the Asiatics? That's what you saying?
Brother, please.
Real quick, let him go ahead. Real quick, let him go ahead, y'all, and say what he's got to say. Go ahead,
Don't
Vovo.
nobody say nothing about no Asiatic, none of that. And we will see these people today that are descendants of slaves. How we see on the transatlantic slave trade produced the Jamaicans, the Bahamians, the Haitians, the Black Americans. We would see nations of people like that, the Brazilians. We would see that there. We would see people that say, I am a descendant of the Silk Road slave trade. You will see that. I don't want to hear about this. You're going to talk about the black people in the Pacific Islanders. We ain't, they not descendants of the Silk Road slave trade. So that's not, so what you're saying is not true. It was slave trade. Let me be clear, brother.
My God.
Control yourself.
God,
Almost done.
Hold on, real quick, News. Real quick. I want you to.
Hey, y'all chill out, man. Let him go. Let him go ahead and say what he got to say. I don't know if that was you, Levo. Go ahead and chill out and let the man go ahead and finish saying what he was got to say. Go ahead, Vovo.
Yeah, that wasn't none of that. You know, he's a troll, man. He always troll me, man. He be acting like these women about me. But anyway, you would see these people. You would see them. You know what I mean? We don't see them. Now, as far as the China thing, I don't know why these niggas.
Hey, real quick, y'all. Go ahead and don't come off the microphone. Let him go ahead and say what he's got to say. So nobody come off the microphone. Go ahead, Vovo. And yeah, I mean, come on, real talk. Don't come off the microphone.
I've been going through that my whole life, man. I don't know. The dude's doing it now. It's crazy. You know what I mean? But anyway, as far as the China thing, what I'm trying to tell y'all, I don't know why it's going over your head. They can't do nothing with this stuff. When you hanging signs saying don't shit in the street in 2023, bro, they need China. Nobody else is gonna come do it. Ain't nobody else gonna come do it. They over there having a brain drain. Soon as they people get any type of education, they run to the West. So somebody, in order for these people to move forward, somebody got to step in and help them. Obviously, they can't handle the shit that's under the ground. They just can't handle it. So let me ask you this, right? Everybody think that Africa getting a fucked up deal. How? What the world supposed to let the stuff sit there?
Well, first off, it's their stuff. So if they just let it sit there, then yeah, that's what the world is actually supposed to do. Like,
no, you're not supposed to just let it sit.
Oh, so you supposed to come over there? You supposed to come over there and debo them and take their stuff?
That's the price. They not deboing them though.
I get what you're saying, but you asked a question. You say, well, what they supposed to do? Just let the stuff sit there? I'm like, yeah. Well, if that's what they want, yeah, let it sit there. They would actually come out better. They would actually come out better if they let it sit there and made people actually come up there and go to the highest bidder. They would actually come out better that way.
Do it, brother. Yeah, they would come out better. Duh. Everybody agrees with that. No, they just can't do it, brother. So that's the price they pay. It's really a fair price. If I gotta build you a hospital, I'm gonna need some of this gold. What else do you have? So I'm gonna need this oil. If I gotta come to your country and build you a road, this my price. I need some oil out of here. You have nothing else. You ain't got nothing else. So if I gotta build this oil sitting here anyway, you ain't doing nothing with it anyway. I might as well give it to you and you build me a road so I can get stuff moving. I'll land my plane, brother.
Listen, Volvo, I'm not disagreeing with some of what you're saying. You're right, but I'm saying this right here. I'm saying that the same way, if you look at the Arabs had nothing over there. All of this stuff that the Arabs got and stuff like that came because of oil in the ground. The Arabs used their heads and they made people go ahead and pay an actual fair price for that stuff. The problem with the Africans is that they have been colonized to the point that they have been beaten into submission. They put these losers up here as presidents that's actually just puppets of the actual Asians and the Chinese and the whites more than anything else. And that's why they can't get ahead. They need to go ahead and get rid of these people and get rid of them in a way that they don't come back, if you get my drift. and go ahead and move forward. Until they go ahead, if they don't, well, you put your thumb down all you want to, until they get rid of these actual puppeteers right here that's running the actual government, they're going to continue to struggle and live the way they living. You got to get rid of these people and go ahead. You got people over there that's engineers and everything else that can do this stuff right here. The problem is that they're getting aid from some of these countries right here, and instead of putting this money to use, you got these dictators going ahead putting this money, like they say, in Swiss bank accounts. You got damn government officials that's got $900 million in their bank account while people up here starving. They need to go ahead and get rid of these people right here for once and for all. They got a young population, and it may be time for a revolution. And that's something that they have not looked at. It's time for a revolution. It's time to get rid of these people right here. Put these people to bed permanently if you want to go ahead and move forward. If you don't put these people to bed, you will constantly be the slave of everybody in this world. Go ahead and get rid of these people. You got people that can go ahead and do that. This is one of the things that they have told black people all throughout the world. You see the same problem in Haiti. Haiti was once thriving as well too. To the United States and France just kept bothering them. They want to leave. They want to put this example out here that you cannot have a black nation that can govern itself. That black people are too stupid to go ahead and rule and actually do anything. Haiti's sitting on all kind of resources over there, but because Haiti had to deal with paying France a goddamn a ransom, and then they had the United States come over there and mess things up, and then they won't go ahead and take care of their little thug problem. Please, when you got more people, it's not like you got this extravagant army or whatever. Go ahead and beat these people and take these people out and put these people out and go ahead and lead. That's the only way you're going to come up. You're right. The Chinese are doing what the Chinese, hold on, Volvo. The Chinese are doing what the Chinese are supposed to do. They're doing business. If I go to a store and I'm finna pay for groceries that come out to $100, and you look at me and you say, well, hey, you only got to pay me $10. Well, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and take that. And that's exactly what they're doing. So you can't blame the Chinese. The Chinese are doing what the Chinese are supposed to do. They're ripping them off. And yeah, they are ripping them off, but they're only ripping them off because the damn leaders are too stupid to do anything about it. So the rip-off comes from the damn leaders, because the leaders are getting kickbacks themselves as well, too. The Chinese got the damn leaders in their pockets. The leaders are getting a nice little chunk of change, and the Chinese are taking the vast majority of that money and they leaving. So I don't understand. Like, you're sitting up here and like the Chinese aren't doing them any favors. The Chinese are doing themselves favor, and the Chinese are supposed to do themselves favor. That's how business is. So we can't blame the Chinese. You got to blame the actual people that's in charge, and that's the actual Africans, because the Africans. Hold on real quick, Rella. Because the Africans are allowing it to happen. They're allowing them to go ahead and take everything they want for peanuts. You hold every advantage. You got the land, you got the numbers on your side, and you got the resources. You can tell the Chinese to kiss your ass, and you're not going to sell them anything, and they'll come groveling to you, and you can set the damn price. That is strictly on leadership. They got a bunch of puppets in place over there.
And I was just gonna say that they are also kicking out the Africans from China, while we sitting here talking about somehow it's okay for the Chinese to do what they doing, but when it comes to the Africans trying to go into China to actually go in and try to do the same thing to develop businesses within China, China's kicking them people out. Y'all remember what happened in COVID? The Arab countries were doing the same thing.
Volvo, you just talked, but Volvo.
Okay, Sister
Okay. Real quick. We're gonna get to Rera, but Volvo, you just said something, so I'm gonna let you say something real quick. So I don't.
I'm gonna be real quick. You must not be paying attention. You said they need to throw them folks out. They is trying to throw them out. It's a military coup once a month in Africa. They is trying to throw them out. And let me say this, right? This is my last thing I'm gonna say. They not cheating them. If I have to build you a nation, brother, I don't think you understand how important that is. If I gotta come build you a nation, what am I supposed to do?
I didn't say that they were supposed to come over there for free. I didn't say that. I'm saying that I never once said that they should come over there for free and do anything.
You don't know, that means you're not African and you ain't over here.
I don't really know what you're trying to say, Volvo, because if I got gold that's worth $10 million, you know, and I know that you extracting it out the ground or whatever, this and that, whatever. Best believe we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go even on that. I don't give a damn if you got to bring the equipment and everything else. I'm gonna bring the workers, you bring the equipment, you coming to my land, you taking it out. We're gonna go half on what you doing. Okay, bro. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about because no other people in this world got resources on their land and they getting shitted for it the way like they are. I don't know what you're talking about. And they only getting shitted for it because of the actual black. Okay.
They handle it themselves. They not able to handle it. I gotta come to you.
They're not able to handle it because their leaders ain't shit. That's why. That's why they can't handle it, because their leaders ain't shit.
Anyway, News, I got 120 seconds. I have to respond to Volvo about what he said about the Silk Road slave trade, and it won't take 120 seconds.
Go ahead, because I gotta get the re-raw. So go ahead real quick.
I'm gonna be done, right? He said that you would have saw all the mixture of people like the transatlantic slave trade. Newsflash, sir. The Silk Road slave trade didn't cross the water. The transatlantic slave trade did. That's number one. I said. That's exactly what you said.
No, I
and
said
number
we're
two,
in the nation of people. Where are the descendants of the? If it was all about trading black people, we would have seen. Okay, y'all.
No, go ahead. Go ahead real quick, Professor. Professor, let him go ahead because I'm finna go ahead and get the re-raw. So go ahead.
I wasn't done.
Yeah, go ahead real quick. So I'm getting the re-raw. Go ahead.
And excuse me, my last thing he said was trading slaves is not the main thing. They did other things. Like, bro, look at the transatlantic slave trade. When those African slaves crossed the water, there were other things as cargo on those ships. So you telling me when those ships died, you can say, oh, what are these slaves? What are these 300 slaves? Oh, don't worry about that. Just worry about the 300 bottles of rum we got. Don't worry about those pesky slaves. Pretend they're not there. Get real, man. Get real.
Okay. Let me go ahead and get to re-raw real quick. Re-raw, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, Newstoter. Hey, family. Thanks for letting me speak.
What's up now?
I just wanted to touch on the Chinese people in Africa. But there's been several news articles and all kinds of stuff about the Chinese going into Africa. They're building things. They're falling apart. Chinese people don't give a fuck about Africa. Just like the immigrants that we're getting over here, they don't give a fuck about America. They're not going to do their best job. They're not going to give us the best things. They're not going to keep things that are best for their people and give them to us. They're not going to do that. They're making videos and they're having black kids say, African kids say stuff in Chinese that's hella derogatory. I mean, no. Them being in Africa is not a good thing. They're raping the women. They're beating the workers. No, they're not. And also circumnavigation. Yes, there's going to be black people in the farthest reach of every continent. You go to Asia right now, it's black people in the farthest reach. No, you don't see them because they didn't want to be like everybody else. And they stayed where the hell they was. But if you go back to any continent's history, and the further you go back, the blacker it's going to get. That's called circumnavigation. We already did this shit probably a few times before any other race of people were even on the fucking planet, is what I'm saying. So, I let my friend.
Okay. I see Mr. Engaging up in here. Let me go ahead and get a new speaker. Mr. Engaging, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? I had to punch in because I heard my brother Volvo, man, talking crazy, and I had to reach off of my bookshelf. You know, I had to reach off to that Chancellor Williams. You could thumb down to the great Chancellor Williams because he would have checked that bullshit that you were talking about.
I read it.
No, obviously you didn't learn
Man, that ain't fine.
Obviously,
Destruction of a black civilization. I own it. I'm on video talking about it.
Obviously you didn't learn nothing from it because you wouldn't be talking that crap about that Chinese shit. So, like, I'm gonna get back to kicking that knowledge so you can stay on that mic and mute it up. So that's what I'm gonna get to. Dr. Chancellor Williams on destruction of the black civilization would definitely clear up that conversation that Volvo was trying to push, like the Chinese people are all good and that they don't do no wrong. Nah, brother, they one of the first enemies of the African man. one of the first enemies next to Arab, next to everything else. So you can put thumbs down. You might not like the history. You might not like books. But hey, I'm just going to give it to you straight like coffee because it is what it is. So that's the first thing, because I had to get up on the mic because I couldn't handle the intellectual dishonesty coming from this individual when it comes to our people, our lineage, and our history. With that being said, Brother Newstoter, what's cooking in the pot today? Because I came in and I was missing the all Volvo rants and I missed everything.
Oh man.
Mr. Engagement, what did Heavy D say in that song? Black coffee, no sugar, no cream.
Yeah. Straight up, way up here to talk to me. I told you, these niggas weird about me, man.
Hey, we've been discussing.
You don't even know what was said.
Real quick, let me, because I'm gonna have to mute everybody. So let me go ahead and just run it down real quick. We was talking about, you had the state of the black. You had this report, the state of the Black America. It was from the Urban League, and it was pretty much just stuff that we pretty much already know. There are 5 main points they were talking about. They were talking about a hate manifesto, the rise in violent hate crimes across America, tracking parental right movement rooted in racism, the threat within education, hate in the nation, the threat within America's political system, a threat to national security, hate within law enforcement and the military, the divided state of America, a surge of divisive policies, pretty much everything that we talk about in these spaces all the time. They made no mention of the financial sector and everything that's going on with Black people in terms of the racial wealth gap and home equity or anything like that. So it's pretty much stuff that you and I talk about all the time. We mention. So nothing major. And then we were talking about the Black World Conference when you had these Black people from around the world. You got the Ghana president here. You got like 2 prime ministers from the Caribbean, plus a former prime minister from Jamaica. Plus you got a bunch of Black organizations, the NAACP, the Urban League, Me Too. You got the Me Too founder was there. You got Marcus Garvey's son. So you got a bunch of them. They talking about their main goal is what they claim is that they're talking about Black economic empowerment, gentrification, police reform, reparations, and other stuff as well too. And we talked about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. running for president of the United States. So just to sum it up, that's pretty much what we've been talking about today.
All right, I definitely want to comment on a couple of those things. Okay, first things.
Go ahead.
Black America report. I really think that the NAACP Urban League should have never gone public with that. They should have went private if they were going to change their direction per se. If they're gonna take off the marching shoes and actually get into some combat boots, that I would prefer they run silent and run deep, not open advocate what they're gonna do. So like that was a no-go with that one. The other one, the Black World Conference sound like the Boule version of the 60s and the 70s when the Black Power people met up. So like I don't think anything's gonna come out to anything out of that that's gonna be positive for us. They might talk a good game, but whatever. RFJK Jr. Is he talking reparations? Is he talking lineage-based reparations?
I haven't, he just announced it yesterday. I know he's big in terms of anti-vaccine, but I don't really know his platform, to be truthfully honest.
All right, that's the first thing I think our family should be, before we even talk about this guy, what's on this guy's platform, what he's talking about. Like, honestly, I don't really give a damn. If he openly talking about reparations first, and this headline, not no anti-vaccine or whatever, yeah, we know that's a problem, and I'm not going to discredit that, but give me my check, and give me my money, and I can combat it how I feel, how I want to combat it. I don't need nobody to combat it for me if I have the tools and stuff before me, and I can get justice on my own. So that's just my take on those 3 items of the day, and I just wanted to apply the knowledge of Dr. Chancellor Williams on this conversation and get that anointed up right. And I'm gonna be out.
All right. Appreciate that. Guys, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel while the space is going on as well, too. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel while the space is going on. Let me go ahead and get the Black Native. Black Native, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I just was going to say how China
they rent out their panda bears, which I didn't even know until I think it was Central Park had the panda bears, and China was like, "Look, we coming to get our panda bears. You better pay us our $5 million, or we come to get Ming Ling and Yusong." Now, when I go to the zoo, I see a whole exhibit, especially in the Bronx Zoo, titled Africa. They got every type of animal there from Africa. I wonder if they're paying the African government for the animals that they rent, or did they steal them and just put them in the zoos? Because China wasn't playing. China was like, "We coming to get our panda bears if you don't pay us our fucking $5 million." So it's their business smart, and so like you said, if you keep going over, it's like beating a dead horse. It's their leadership. Their leadership is corrupt. They tell us this. That's why they're leaving. But like you said, something is gonna have to give, because they can't keep getting recolonized by different people. And I also wanted to ask you, are you going to discuss that Dr. Phil where he had the reparationist up on there speaking about reparations? You know anything about that?
I tweeted that out, so I'm gonna definitely talk about that in the space as well too. So yeah, we're gonna cover that as well too.
And I just wanted to address Bobo Rant. Bobo, you said the smartphone, we should use the smartphone because it makes us smart. I just Googled, which I already knew. I mean, this is kind of common sense. Afro-Asians, African Asians, or simply Black Asians, they're marginalized, but they live in Asia. So they do have Black communities, just like they have in Mexico, just like they have in Venezuela. We're everywhere, brother. So I don't know why you wouldn't know that. That's kind of weird. I mean, I could pull up pictures of Black Asians all day. Look at the Philippines. I mean,
I said that y'all gonna say that. I said the Pacific.
look at the Philippines, but you have Black Japanese. You know the first samurais were Black, right?
I know, sister. We got all this
So what are you talking
Black
about?
knowledge and Black people all over the world.
But you just said there wasn't no Black people in Asia.
Y'all not listening, bro. Y'all really not listening. Y'all looking for an argument.
I'm not arguing with you.
You did say that. You did.
Listen to what I said. Listen to what I said.
Where are they? Where are they at? Where are we don't see them?
Are y'all okay? I knew y'all was gonna do that. I walked y'all into a trap. So are
Hey, real quick, y'all. One person at a time. One person at a time. Go ahead, Black Native.
Black
You're rude. You told me I talk too much, but you've been hogging the whole mic for about 2 or 3 hours. Go back into listening. I mean, that's all I gotta say. I'm gonna land my plane. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Bye, Bobo. Bye.
Let me say this, right?
No, Vovo, real quick. Because I got no taxation. She's been waiting for a minute. I'll get the note. Yeah, she's been waiting. She's been waiting forever and a day. So let me go ahead and get to that sister. Then we'll come back to you. Go ahead, no taxation.
I am so tickled. I don't know if y'all caught this, but I ain't even gonna mention no name. It was said they can handle it, but they can't handle it. Well, I don't know which one, but it is. Either they can handle it or they can't handle it. The problem is corruption, and I've said this one time before. The head leaders of African countries that do business with China and America, because the Saudis don't really fuck with them like that unless you up north. They're corrupt. There's very few countries in Africa that are not corrupt. And Africa has the most resources in the world. And so everybody is being bought and sold. If it doesn't translate down to the African, everyday African person of whatever country they're in, it just doesn't count. It could be their resources. It should be the people's resources. But it's not. It's whoever buys that African leader off. And if they don't do what the United States government or the Chinese government say do, they're not going to be there long. And if you think the United States government and the Chinese government are in cahoots, you haven't been paying attention. They have divided Africa. It's already divided in 3 parts. There's water wars over there. I keep trying to tell y'all in a minute, Africans and in the northern part of Africa won't have water. And in the middle part of Africa where the deserts are, they'll have water. Now, you don't think that's a bit strange? You don't think it's strange that the United States and the Chinese government are planting trees in the middle of Africa and through the deserts? Where they get the water from? Now, see, y'all got to understand, these resources are valuable commodities for everybody in the world. The advantage America has, the Chinese build resorts and roads and all that kind of stuff, and America is building drone bases, and they're building roads to the drone bases. But the Africans over there, I don't care what part of Africa you're in, if you live in an African country that is corrupt, you don't stand a chance on getting paid. It's not like they live in Alaska where those people get a check every month. The state of Alaska, the citizens of Alaska get either a yearly or an annual check for the oil and the pipelines up there. They don't do that to those people. The Saudis, look at those Saudis' country. You know why those people are living well? Because they divide the wealth, which is the oil. And America's still saying, how did our oil get under their sand? You got to understand what you're dealing with here. China is just as corrupt as the United States. What we have, the advantage that we have, is that our dollar still commands everything. We make the world go round over here. And that's what the real fight is all about. The real fight is not even over Africa and its resources, because that deal has been cut a long time ago. The fight is who is going to win the economy of the world. Whose money is going to rule? That's what the fight is really all about. It's not about nothing else. Come on now, y'all think now. It's deeper than what you're talking about. If Africans got people shitting in the street, they got that black folks is shitting in the street in San Francisco. You think they give a damn about anything with melanin in it? Come on now. Be for real. Be for real. Y'all think now. And I'm going to leave it there.
Let me give a shout out too, because we had a couple more people subscribe to the YouTube channel. So thank you guys. I'm glad that you actually subscribing. Up in the middle of the actual jumbotron, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th to the right is a YouTube channel. So let's see if we can get one more person, at least before the space ends tonight, to go ahead and subscribe as well too. So thank you guys for you guys subscribing. If you have subscribed, make sure when you do, you click the notifications, guys, so you can always be reminded of when we do we go live on YouTube, which is normally the same nights we do the actual Twitter spaces. So we always live stream. So in case you do miss it, you can always go to YouTube and catch up on any of the Newstoter Twitter spaces. You can catch it right there on YouTube. So thank you to everybody who has subscribed. I'm going to go ahead and get it to Volvo. Also, anybody that wants to donate on Cash App, once again, that's $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Volvo, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hopefully y'all play this back and y'all can see that they said exactly what I said they was gonna say. When she Googles those black Asians, those are Pacific Islanders. I said that y'all was gonna say that. I said it if you go back and listen to it. Those are Pacific Islanders. Are y'all trying to tell me that those are the descendants of the Silk Road slave trade? They don't even agree with that. Them ain't the descendants of the Silk Road slave trade.
Nobody said that here. What the fuck are you talking about?
I know nobody said that.
Nobody said Pacific Islanders either. You said Pacific Islanders. I didn't say that.
Volvo, you just went up here to cause confusion.
All right, let's let Volvo go ahead so we can get to
Why you call himself Volvo Ranch? Because goddamn, he just ranch.
to get to Mr. Engage and we can get to DJ. So let Volvo go ahead and say what he's got to say, y'all.
Man, you got the wrong guy that's able to mute the mic. He is intimidated by me.
I was the one that muted, so I can go ahead and get it. Yeah, I muted.
He keep jumping off the mic and all that type of shit. This
Newstoter, I hate to interrupt, but Denise Long is in the room, and I don't know if you want to pass her the mic or not, but if you do, I would be really happy to hear her opinion.
She's got to if she wants to speak, she could just go ahead and request it because she may just want to listen. So if Denise wants to speak, she can go ahead and just request it because I don't normally just issue anybody the mic because a lot of times people just want to listen. So if Denise wants to speak, all she has to do is request the mic and we'll let her speak. So I don't know. She just may want to chill in the listener section. So whenever she wants to come up and speak, she can. Vovo, real quick, go ahead and everybody stay on your mic. Please don't come off your mic. Let Vovo.
I'll be talking in a circle, brother. This just ain't the right space for me. It just ain't going. It's like, just go back and listen to what I said. They said exactly what I was gonna say. They said exactly what I said they was gonna say. If you go back and listen to it, they said exactly what I said. Said they was gonna say.
Now, Vovo, I will say tonight. Now, you did come off. You came off your mic a couple of times. Even when I was talking, you was coming off the mic some too. Now, so I mean, I know.
I was trying to touch on one point. They just coming off the troll. When she said she don't even know what she's looking at, bro. When she Googles those black Asians, those are Pacific Islanders. She don't even know that though, but she don't even know that. She Googled that and she don't even. What other black people are over there in Asia?
I didn't say what their culture was. I said they were black. Okay, that's what I said. You go back into any civilization or any continent, you're going to find black people there. I don't care if they came from the Pacific Island, where you think they came from. That's on you. But like, pay attention to like circumnavigation. Look that up.
Look, just dumb shit like that. Just shit that don't even mean nothing. She ain't say nothing right there. But I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all have it, man. I'm gonna drop back down to
You're trolling now, bro. Goodbye.
I'm not trolling. Well, then I'm gonna tell you what. Like I said, use your smartphone to be smart. Google black Asians. All of them. You just looking for yourself.
Okay, yeah, we gonna move on to the next speaker because like as soon as Vovo talk, it's like 3-4 people speaking and stuff. So let's go ahead and move on. We'll go to Mr. Engaging and we'll go to DJ. Let me give a shout out to Major. Major, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Go ahead, Mr. Engaging. You got it.
All right, thank you, man. Wow, that was crazy. I definitely want to touch back on the Black report, or I think the Black conference, where you were talking about about Black leadership and stuff of that nature. One of the things that I wanted to touch upon was when it comes to us and some of the things, why our politics are kind of messed up. I always say that civics is the basic building block of politics, and if your civic game ain't right, your politics game ain't right. With that being said, when I look at the civic organizations and the civil rights organizations, do they really align to our value? Do they really support our communities? Are they shouting reparations from the rooftop, as well as calling for hate crime bills and anti-lynch bills? They're not. So with that being said, we need to create organizations and such to actually address those needs and actually make sure or support organizations that do support those needs and those values. And that's more than ever that we should be investing into that, because there's going to be a bigger fight ahead, and that's for our survival. So that's one of the things I do want to make us really aware about. The Black World Conference, I want to go back to that again, because I'm starting to look at it like they're trying to push this whole Pan-African, everybody get reparations, which I really do think that all people around the world that are melanated is oppressed, We are oppressed, don't get it twisted, no doubt. But I don't think that they all deserving of American reparations, I think that they deserve to the people that oppressed them, And I think that those type of conversations and those type of nuances should be expressed at the Black World Conference. And are those type of things being expressed at the World Conference, Newstoter?
Talking about reparations.
More like the nuances of reparations. For example,
I'm gonna be honest, Mr. Engaging. I could not tell you. I'm not sure.
And that's that's the problem. I really think that if they are talking about reparations, they should be talking about it from the nuances from the people that oppressed them, to make sure that the people that were victimized is met with the person that oppressed them, to make sure that they get the resources and stuff that was owed to them. Like, I don't want to see other nations all trying to crowd onto American reparations, you know, when there's enough reparations from all the other European nations that are around the world that has exploited our people, that have melanin in their skin. So, like, that's just something that should be considered, and I hope it does get considered.
All right. I see we got Denise up in the house. So Denise, go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing tonight? You there, Denise?
Hey, sorry about that. Multitasking here. So thank you for the space. And so the World Conference, this is what made me raise my hand to speak. So today, let me know if you were in this conference today about reparations. But today there was a conference called Imperialism in Africa, Resistance, Restitution, and Reparations. It was hosted by a variety of academics, including one out of UC Berkeley. Did anyone else in the space attend that today? I'm just scrolling through to see people's reactions as to if they attended or not. But so I did attend that today, and there were a variety of people there, including folks who were in other parts of the world. Portugal represented there, the United States, folks who are foreign-born immigrants, and a professor from Africa, I think 2 professors from Africa. It was an interesting conversation. They were basically sharing the, moral case for reparations for the continent is how it was framed. And it wasn't U.S. specific per se, but they did enfold kind of the whole Black world into it. And of course, because of our human rights legacy here in the United States, it's a large part of sort of the moral authority for the case for reparations. I mention it in context of the Black World Conference because I would imagine the people who were holding that webinar today would also champion, the sort of reparations to Africa conference. And so they mentioned a few things about sort of division in the Black world related to reparations and the like. And someone else, I think Mr. Engaging, was talking about basically is the delineation conversation, the freedmen, Black American, all the names, conversation being brought to these Pan-African spaces, and are people actually listening? And that was part of how I showed up today at the webinar. And he read my questions, and I'm just going to read them to you as soon as I can sort of find them in this mess of stuff that I have. So I asked 3 questions because I think in all spaces it's important for our multi-generational Black American legacy to be spoken to, and for people to know that we're looking, we're watching, and we need you to hear us. And we need you to listen to us, right? Not just tolerate or pretend to be hearing what we're saying, but to hear. So here are 3 questions I asked. The first question is, there's a clear need for Pan-Africanism to not appropriate the reparations due to the actual Black American families that endured United States slavery and Jim Crow. How do the panelists ensure Pan-African praxis and rhetoric don't undermine the actual slave descendants? Second question I ask, what is the plan on the continent to prosecute its own claim that doesn't undermine the families of those who were the actual slaves in each respective Western country? So how Africa gonna get whatever Africa feels it's entitled to without trying to shoehorn its way into the Caribbean, shoehorn its way into the United States, Brazil, so on and so forth. And then the third question I ask Oh, and by the way, the lady from Portugal says she didn't understand the first two questions, which I find fascinating. And she could also read them, so it wasn't just a verbal, auditory processing thing. Then the third question I ask is, why isn't the Arab slave trade discussed more unapologetically in Africa's slavery reparation advocacy? So, with all of that, so two people addressed the question, and really they didn't really address the two questions. One person basically was saying if people are seeing he didn't say competition. What did he say? If people are thinking that we're stepping on each other's toes in the reparations conversation, then they're approaching reparations wrong. Right, is his thing. Like, that's the wrong way to look at it. If you think that Africa can't get part of what you are getting as an American freedman, essentially, that's how I interpret that, right? And then again, the other woman didn't understand the question, which I found fascinating. And then the other guy, who was African, actually said, "We need to hear this, and we have to consider what people are saying. We have to acknowledge it. It is really important." And one of the things that I said is, I said, you need to hear us. It's not just that you don't like that we have in this conversation, that we are saying that you're harming us. You need to actually hear us, and you need to listen to us when we tell you that you're undermining us. And so the person who was most open, who was most responsible about, okay, let's take a look at how the rhetoric and impact is affecting the American Negroes, essentially, who were the actual descendants of slaves. The African guy was the most open to that. So I just wanted to share that. I'm not sure the extent to which this Black World Conference and the Pan-Africanism they're espousing there actually is thinking about the logistics and the implementation. That was another thing I shared. So I was like, okay, Pan-Africanism sounds great, but what's the implementation? Like, that's the problem with this whole thing, is there is no implementation. It's all rhetoric and kumbaya, and it's all what people should be doing, but ain't nobody doing nothing. And y'all got a whole freaking continent with, what is it, 53 or 54 countries, and most of which are predominantly Black. So why y'all expecting Negroes in a country where they are not the majority and never have been to actually carry the whole world? And how are you using our legacy as the moral authority for what you're trying to accomplish, in large part, while you're also coming over here and sabotaging us, but somehow expecting us to build camaraderie and friendship and hope everything works out for the best for people who come over here talking shit about us and not even thinking about the impact that they have on us. So there's a lot of ways that Pan-Africanism and Pan-Africanist paradigm and thinking is just off the mark. And I know I'm preaching to the choir when I say that, but I also don't think that we are in those spaces. And to be quite honest with you, we need to be in all of them. So there's that.
All right. Thank you, Denise. Appreciate it. You made some very, very valid points. So thank you for coming into the space tonight and speaking. Hey, DJ, you want to go ahead and say something? I know you got your hand up. You had your hand up for a minute. I don't know if you're there. We'll come back to you then. Go ahead, Rella. Yeah, I called on you, but I didn't hear anything from you. You there?
No, I am here. I was over here listening to something else. I'm talking to y'all about, So, no, I ain't want to say nothing other than play that video or whatever, but let's let the people go. I'll talk later.
All right. Go ahead, Rella. You got it.
Thank you, Newstoter, and thank you, Denise, for giving us that background on that, because a lot of times we can't be everywhere. We don't know a lot of things that are going on everywhere. So it is helpful for us to actually kind of get a briefing from people, because then we know, okay, these are the things that we need to look for and how we do get established. Is one of the reasons why I always say that, most people are looking at one way to go about getting organized or even having discussions when you need to have a multitude of avenues and getting in spaces where you can vocalize and stand up and be ever present for our people, because our voice is getting drowned out. And we have to be honest, our voice really is just now getting established in a way where our parents, our grandparents, and people before us did not get a chance to vocalize their voice in this way when it comes to controlling the narrative and what the narrative actually is and what has been happening to us. I think we are in a position where we're having to battle our ethnicity, our humanity, being Black in America, the historical essence of what a freedman was, and all the things that make up all the classifications of what we know of, and other groups of people get to just call it where you're just jealous, or you're not looking at it, as all of us as a whole, or you just want to, practice white supremacy. Like, we get all the tropes thrown at us for wanting to be recognized, even on a global scale, but we don't have people in these organizations that actually can speak to our voice in this way. And so it's good to know that we are going to start making better efforts and strides to do that. And to Vovo, I really don't think that we need to argue anymore in regards to his talking points, because as he stated, people have a smartphone, but there are also books. There are libraries, there are university libraries. There's so many other things that we also can tap into. And your smartphone is not the only thing. So that's not a debatable comeback to tell somebody to use their smartphone, especially if you're telling them to use their smartphone and your talking points is incorrect. So anyway, I'll leave that there. But this space has been great, Newstoter, and we definitely need, I think, to explore more of what we're going to do in regards to organization so that we can compete, because like I said, I don't think that we're going to have a strong enough voice without an economic push behind us, and we do need a lot of the heavy hitters to now start putting the skin in the game, but they need to know why and what we're talking about. So if we're talking about, creating a place where we can have those discussions, your platform would definitely be one, to have it, or maybe even the somebody from the reparations team, or even Denise, because we need it. So I'll leave it there and I'll end it.
Thank you, Rella. We're going to get to Mr. Engaging and Black Native, and they'll be the last two speakers for the night. So go ahead, Mr. I believe, I'm not sure who was next. Was it you, Mr. Engaging, or was it Black Native? I'm not sure, to be honest.
She can go and I can close it out, because I want to say something about the organization tip, and it might be a little long-winded.
All right, Black Native, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I want to thank Denise for, giving us information on what happened in that webinar. From what she said, it sounds like she said it was two immigrants, I guess, first gen, that was speaking on behalf for Black Americans. And it sounds like Africa is literally trying to get involved or finagle and grift their way into our reparations claim. Like, literally, that's what she said. Like, I'm glad she was there. Like I said, we need to be there. We need people of our lineage in that room, because she said it was two immigrants that were born in the United States that were speaking for the United States, and that's not fair. And it just seems like they're like, okay, well, look, later for you Black Americans, Africa, we need reparations too. They weren't even speaking probably about reparations till we got it jumping. So this is dangerous. And this is why we've been going so hard to delineate, because we've seen this coming down the pipe. We've seen it. And so here goes the grift. So now Africa is now part of the Black American struggle, the chattel slavery that happened in America. Somehow Africa wants a piece of that. Nah. No. I wish I could get into that webinar. I didn't even know anything about this Black World Conference until you spoke on it in your room, Newstoter. And I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you brought it to our attention. I knew nothing about this was going on. But I'll go ahead and land. Thank you.
Thank you, Black Native. Let me go ahead, Mr. Engaging, you got it. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right, thanks. One of the things I wanted to bring up, I was at Yale, I want to say 3-4 years ago, and they had this big exhibit called Slavery Through the Antiquities. And I had to really check these guys on some real talk stuff. One, they were going to mention slavery throughout the ages in order to undermine modern day chattel slavery from the Negro American population here on the soil. So this was debated intellectually. And I happened to be up there seeing what was going on the Yale campus, and I had to put a kibosh to that. But these conversations has been debated intellectually on at these institutions where they are trying to undermine our reparations, family. They are trying to take away our reparations. So I think we need to be on guard. I need to think that we need to echo out lineage base, not just for American reparations discussion, for all reparations discussion. Let's lead the way in that discussion. I really think we should be doing that. Also, I want to push back with one of the sisters saying that we need to join these organizations. No, we don't need to join these organizations. I've already tried it. It ain't going to work. We need to create our own institutions.
Hold on. I didn't say that. That's not what I said. You weren't here when I was talking about it. I said we need to create our own, and that we need to create our own, and our own organizations actually join together to create a global United States leg to compete.
Okay. Yes, I agree with you on that. But the other aspect on top of that, we need to start challenging these other organizations that are established for the equal access to power. And what I mean by that is that there's certain institutions, for example, like the United Nations, that these organizations have access to. Once we get our little Negro freedmen's and all those other sort of organizations up, all running, we need to be challenging these organizations so we can have access to these institutions and to these levels of power. And that's another conversation that we really need to get onto in talking about geopolitics, family. Geopolitics. Sorry about that. We need to really get on it as soon as possible, because I really think that the threat for reparations is not just only from the inside the United States, but also abroad.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Engaging. I appreciate that. So thank you. Let me go ahead. We're gonna get ready to close this space out. So Professor DJ, don't worry about playing that video. We'll go ahead and play that another time. But Professor DJ, y'all, if y'all want to say something, go ahead and say something real quick, because we're gonna close this space out.
No, agree. Go ahead.
All right, Professor, you want to say something real quick?
All I have to say is reparationsrally2023.com. That's all I have to say, family. Let's just get it. Let's get this money that's owed to our ancestors. That's it. Newstoter family, love you. Peace, power, and reparations.
DJ, you say you doing another space tonight too? You said.
Yeah, I'm about to start in a second.
Okay, so y'all, once again, y'all know where to go at after the actual Newstoter space. So this is for all of the night owls that love the night owls, and the early birds that like to go ahead. DJ's gonna go ahead and kick it for the space, and this was really a good space, guys. So I definitely appreciate everybody that came in. Good conversation, very, very good conversation.
Newstoter. Did you get my message or that picture that I sent you about the Spicy Fox News Network? The Spicy Fox News Network.
I gotta check in and see Mr. Engagement.
It's the Latino Fox News, bro.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Fox took that L, $780 million. They gotta give up.
Oh yeah.
So can I correct something Professor said right quick? Professor said reparationsrally2023.com. It is just reparations2023.com. However, you can find the reparations page at reparationsrally2023 on Twitter.
Oh yeah, thank you, sister.
She got it. She got it. She straightened it out at the end. she had to straighten it. Hey, she came.
I see you later, Trouble.
She came and she straightened it out. She made sure she got that straight. So shout out to Trouble for going ahead and put that up in there. So definitely y'all go ahead and definitely come on over to this other space as well too. For those that I know, some people they got to get to work early. For those who can't, DJ he records most of his spaces as well too, guys. So you can always check that space out as well too. So thank y'all. Let's see if we can get one more person too to go ahead and subscribe to that YouTube channel as well too. We got about 4 or 5 people tonight to go ahead and subscribe. So shout out. We starting to get a couple people every night to go ahead and subscribe. So that is a very good positive, y'all. For everybody coming to space, if you haven't subscribed, make sure y'all go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So I like seeing that. At least we'll get 2-3 people. Got to kind of give y'all a little nudge to go ahead and subscribe to it. But nonetheless, I'm still happy. So thank everybody for subscribing to the YouTube channel. Thank everybody for supporting tonight on Cash App. That could as well too. $Newstoter, $Newstoter. So on that, guys, we're gonna go ahead and close the space out. DJ finna go ahead and start his up. So we'll see you. Thank you again, and everybody have a safe night.
Peace, baby.